Good afternoon, everyone, here in the room at Jernkontoret's office in Stockholm. And very welcome also to all the people online. We have people online from at least 10 different countries, so I'm very pleased and happy about that. This is a workshop about 1 year with INCITE, and we will go through a lot of things during this afternoon. I will start with something, a small story. Last year, 1 year ago, on Midsummer Eve. Midsummer Eve is a very special day for Swedes. So there was not very many Swedes that was participating when INCITE was launched, because that was happening on Midsummer Eve last year. We were a few here in the room that was there and had a conversation and in the launch. Since then, we have had 1 year of work. INCITE will explain what they have done, but even more importantly, what they will do in the future and why you all is here, because we have done quite a lot in the iron and steel sector, but there is so many more sectors that will come. But we have also a little bit more appropriate welcome delegation over there. I have my boss, Annika, Roos, the CEO from Jernkontoret, and I will try to behave, Annika, during the day because you're here and watching me. So you will give a small welcome. And also we have Sussie Gylesjö that is working with this program that is also one of the invitations, Swedish Metals and Minerals. So first, Annika, welcome.
Thank you, Eva. And as Eva said, I'm going to give you a more proper welcome. So welcome everyone to Jernkontoret today. And hopefully this will be a very exciting day for all of us. So I'm the head of Jernkontoret, which is the Swedish Associations for Iron and Steel Producers. And we are one of 2 organizers of this workshop today. Together with the Swedish Metals and Minerals, that will also introduce yourself later on. Jernkontoret, we have many different topics on our agenda. So we represent our member companies, the steel industry, in different policy questions. And here we work a lot with research and development. We have environmental questions, work a lot with climate, permit processes, very much focus on these topics. We also work a lot with innovation, a very big part of this innovation program that we will hear about also later on. And since we are involved in all these questions, it's not so difficult to understand why this INCITE initiative is very important to us. And hopefully we'll hear a lot of how this has been developed during this year. Because 1 year ago, we introduced INCITE more or less for the first time, I think, here at Jernkontoret. And then it's very, I think, it will be very interesting to see what has really now happened during this year when INCITE has probably come up to a little bit more speed. So my expectation is very much to see what have been achieved during this year, but also to listen to all participants here, and hopefully it will be a lot of questions and a lot of dialogue during this day. So it will be really inspiring today. So, Sussie.
And a warm welcome from Swedish Metals and Minerals as well. Swedish Metals and Minerals is a program that's part of something called Impact Innovation. That is, innovation investment initiative that is run by 3 funding agencies in Sweden. And there are 5 programs within this initiative, and they're all aimed to tackle global societal challenges. And they're all a part, you can say it's a public-private partnership. So it's the funding agencies, and then we also have the stakeholders and the actors. And they're all also mission-driven. So we all have a mission that we follow. For Swedish Metals and Minerals, it's to enable sustainable and resilient metals and mineral supply for the societal transformation. So we have, among other, we have a program office that is sort of doing the daily operations. And there are 8 organizations in this program office, and Jernkontoret, and also Svemin, where I'm from, which is the industry associations of mines and minerals. We're 2 of these 8 organizations running this. So we work towards our mission by, for instance, call of proposals, and that could be within technical action areas or social or policy related. And then this impact INCITE is one of our policy projects in a call for proposal that we have together with another impact innovation program called Net Zero Industries. So that's, I think I will leave the explanation about the programs there because it's quite complicated if you're not Swedish, I think. We're a bit used to this sort of collaboration between stakeholders, everything from academia, research organizations, industry and civil society. But I'm very much looking forward to this day as well, as this is one of our projects. We're very excited to hear what they have been doing. And I mean, it's important for us to implement the research. And I'm looking forward to see, maybe hear some recommendations on how to do this, or rather what support is needed. Both on a national level, but also on EU level, seeing we also have a new framework program coming up. So that I'm looking forward to hear a little bit more of. Maybe also some recommendations on future industry coming into this INCITE. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Very quick applaud for you. It's always tricky when you have 10 minutes to do the introduction and to speak with 2 people. I've understood that it's problem with the online sound. Is that checked? It's fixed? Okay, so we are back. So I will not repeat what was said because then we lost 5 minutes more. But just to understand, we have a big research mission that is called Impact Innovation. You see it says Impact Innovation. And we are now talking about innovation. And then we have INCITE, which is about innovation. And then we have Impact INCITE. So it will be, during the day, a mix of those words again and again. So anyway, I want to just to warm you up before we let Lars on the stage. We have 2 minutes. Just to warm up your hand, because you need to be flexible here to raise your hand to ask questions. So first of all, I want to just check in the room now, because online is difficult to raise hands. In the room, how many people in the room are from industry? Raise your hand. And we know it's 10 different industry organizations, 10 different BREFs. We will come back to that later. The BREF is the tool for permitting. Okay, how many we have from government office, authorities? Please raise your hand. I'm not me. I was that before. Okay, thank you very much. From academia and institutes? Ah, nice. Then we have technology providers, or representing technology providers. Great, great. Linda, you? Huh? Yeah. I know you. Thank you. And then finally, we also have, at least online, we have some NGOs, which is they are also very welcome. And then I wanted to check also with how many of us is familiar with a word that called Industrial Emission Directive, which is really where INCITE was launched. Have you heard? Oh, okay, you were here last year. Okay, perfect. With that, we have warmed up, and then you just do the same thing. You raise your hand. I give you the mic, or Karin or Jill or Tuva will give you the mic, and then we are rolling. So let's come up here with you, Lars. It's your turn. I give you the floor. I give you the
clicker.
The clicker. I take my water, Thanks. And if you need water, it's behind you.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome, Lars.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for inviting me. I was here almost exactly a year ago. I had no clue about INCITE, but I'm really interested in industry and innovation, and it sounded relevant. And I ended up talking to people from Sverim, and suddenly I'm in a project called INCITE, which has been a fantastic experience. So what I'm going to do is a bit setting the stage, you could say, talk about heavy industry, which has been a research interest for me for 15 years now at least, as well as innovation system studies. And put INCITE in that context and explain why INCITE is so important. Because before the Paris Agreement, people didn't worry too much about heavy industry. It was called the hard-to-abate sector. But after the temperature target, it became clear that everything has to go to zero. It has to go fast to zero. And if we look at Europe, where we're on a fairly good track to meet our 2030 targets, we need to accelerate if we do get approval of a 90% target. So industry getting more attention. This is a slide from the IPCC report showing how global industrial emissions keep increasing, especially in Eastern Asia. You see the industrialization of China. So development requiring a lot of basic materials, steel, cement, etc. And plastics, which is causing a big problem, fastest growing material since 1970, and we're expecting a tripling of plastics by 2060 if nothing is done about this. But anyway, took an interest in these heavy industries where chemicals, iron and steel, and cement are the really big emitters. It's also very special industries. On this slide, we also see pulp and paper and aluminium, much smaller, but still very important. And they all have sort of different characteristics, processes, feedstocks, different markets, and certainly different mitigation options where electrification and hydrogen is possible in the steel industry, cement with carbon in their feedstock, they're going to need CCS. Petrochemicals, which uses fossil feedstock both for products and for energy, are into a real challenge. And then we have the pulp and paper industry, which is in a fairly nice position from a climate point of view, but all those green carbon atoms we might need also to produce polymers in the future. We started looking at this quite some time ago and trying to understand the industry characteristics and the innovation systems around it, getting into this, understanding how capital intensive it is, the scale economies, the investment cycles. Often we say, yeah, this industry is just one investment cycle away from the 2050 target, which makes it a challenge. History of mainly incremental process improvements, product development, not the big technology shifts that we see that we need now. Also from a policy perspective, focus on certain issues, not on zero emissions, which has come later, and different sorts of systemic lock-ins. So very different from other sectors, and each of them having like their own situation. If we start with plastics, if we go back to when I was 20, we used 40 kilograms of plastics per year in Sweden. Now it's 150, and it keeps increasing. Very low recycling. Collection, also low, but what goes into real recycling is even lower. Paper, a material we've had for centuries, stable use, high recycling. Steel, a material that is very much locked into stock in construction, cars and machinery, production consumption about 300 kilograms, 12 tons in stock maybe, and very high recycling rates, so a very, very recyclable material. And then cement, which again is different from the other ones. Not so easy to transport, less international competition, a lot locked up in construction, 15 to 20 tons per person in stock, and quite low recycling rates. So that's the heavy industry. What do we know from research when it comes to innovation systems? So this is borrowed from technology innovation system researchers that are looking into, okay, when is it that the innovation system doesn't deliver? What are the system failures that prevent change from happening? And one finding is what they call the directionality challenge. What are the true objectives of innovation policy? If we look historically, innovation policy was not as challenge-driven as it is today when we talk about societal challenges driving the innovation policy. So that's an important part. We see that as an important part for what's happened in Sweden with Hybrid and Stegra and different initiatives. That's partly possible to explain by the very clear climate policy direction that we have kept in Sweden over the years. Experimentation and testing as a challenge. There's a lot of learning that has to go on. A common theme is also the need to articulate demand, which is something which is going on now, where Europe is trying to develop labeling so that we can create green lead markets for steel, for example. I think that's right now in the making, so things happening there. And then policy learning and governance capacity, of course. Industry decarbonization as a new policy issue also requires that we develop governance capacities. And I think that's what's going on right now with INCITE, that INCITE can play a role in facilitating experimentation, facilitating first-of-a-kind plants, etc. And at the same time, we see policy learning where Naturvårdsverket, you have some responsibility in this, right? And maybe Vinnova and so forth. So capacity is being built as we speak. And it's very interesting to follow this development. It's easy to think that things are very hard to change, but you're all familiar with this one. Suddenly it happens and the whole conversation changes. I had a big European project when this was ongoing, and we had workshops with other European steel companies, and they were completely knocked over. It completely ruined their narrative about being hard to abate and not possible to do anything. So very interesting. But again, it is a difficult sector to work with, whether steel or any of the other, because of typically very low profit margins. The first generation of new technologies might increase the cost substantially for basically the same basic materials, whether it's steel or polymers or cement. It's increasing cost, even if it's not a big blow to sort of the general economy, because the material part in most products, the cost of the material is quite small. But anyway, it's more costly in a tough market environment. Undifferentiated product, sensitive to costs, big investments, big first-of-a-kind plants, not easy to get in place, long-lived assets, and difficult markets. So we need policy to transform European industry. And I think, and we need several policies, and we need sequential policies. And you all know that a lot of things are going on with ETS and CBAM. And to me, INCITE is a very important part of the puzzle here, and becomes a key part of the innovation pipeline, if you say, when you go from research and demonstration and scaling up and trying to pass the valley of death. Here we can find a way of supporting some of these new promising technologies. So, to sum up, this is also sort of the result of research, coming back to the previous slide I showed, where people had looked into innovation failures. So again, directionality, and that could be in different forms. In Sweden, I think we've had a fantastic example with Fossilfritt Sverige, doing roadmaps for different sectors. I don't know to what extent INCITE connects to and does roadmaps for industry. Is there a clear vision for? Not yet. Maybe that could be thought about. Eva takes notes. Obviously, knowledge creation and innovation, that's something that we're usually quite good at. And we have Vinnova now here in the room, specialists on that. Maybe not so good at the topic of creating and reshaping markets, how to create demand pull for green products. That's a big discussion, as I mentioned before. And people often compare with feed-in tariffs for solar and wind electricity in Germany, for example. We need governance capacity to manage this from a policy perspective. Not least if we look at the plastics problem. We need international coherence to avoid carbon leakage. So, somehow we have to balance this, because Europe and Sweden, we do have a responsibility under the Climate Convention to actually do something. But at the same time, it's difficult to do something sometimes because of the free trade and those issues. So that needs to be handled. And then, of course, not so big in this specifically for steel, I think, but we also always have to think about the phase-outs and socioeconomic implications and on society and well-being of people, etc. And I think in Sweden the biggest issue might be in Sápmi and the Sami people and building wind power and things like that. So there's always a social dimension to these processes of change. So again, knowledge creation and innovation, capacity for governance, that's where I think INCITE fills a very important gap. So thank you for that.
Remain there. So,
remain.
Yeah, remain. Thank you. So Lars, thank you very much. I think, if you can go back to the slide, just to point out one more. That's you then, Lars.
I can
maybe.
do it, yeah.
Yes, it's under your control.
Go back.
Yeah, so here, you talked about INCITE's role, and you can really sort of say, a lot of these things are in INCITE. We will hear INCITE soon speaking, but you said knowledge creation or innovation, that's typical in INCITE, but also this creating and reshaping markets is also something that sort of INCITE is doing indirectly by really showcasing good new innovations or innovations that has not been used properly. So really you are framing almost all from what INCITE is doing here on the slide, even if it's not done for INCITE, but it's done for in your research. So I don't know if you have any comments on that. Or is it just coincidence, you think, or is it you nailed the research and then INCITE listened to you?
I have no idea. Policymakers seldom reference researchers for ideas.
You take notes of that now, everyone?
No, I think in all knowledge development, it's like an iterative process. Ideas come and you exchange and you move forward all the way in some dialectic thing,
I also think that, we will come back to Impact INCITE, which is the project. But when we come to that, it's also, that's why we wanted you to be there, because you're doing research on the innovation systems, and we need to draw conclusions of that. How does it suit, and what can we do better? So I think it's really needed to follow from a research point of view as well.
Yeah.
And maybe to connect to other academia. We have academia also online that is over the Europe, so maybe there will be people contacting you later saying, hello, we want to work with you on this. And so this is just to let you know.
Yeah.
And then also, why all this sector? People people thought we'd come here and talk about steel. And of course, we have been focusing a lot on steel. We are in the steel office, sort of. But there is all other sectors as well in this industrial emission directive. So it was good that you didn't limit it to the steel. Do we have anyone that has sort of raised their hand or have a question? Yes, perfect. Go up. First, mic. Is it on the mic? No? It's on.
Hello.
Yep.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just
Hello.
your name and company.
My name is Christopher Freiberg from a Swedish innovation company called Montlibre Group. I very much laud the intelligence by Lars, but I have a humble addition, a proposal to your agenda.
Yep.
When we introduce impact innovation to the industry, whichever it is, cement, forest, steel, automotive, hydrocarbons, whatever, you very typically meet a strong special interest group conservatism. Why? Because the innovation is stepping on the toes of classical economical processes.
Yep.
And there I believe that policy and legislation has a very important role to accelerate the first early steps of innovation. Just like we saw with the fossil-free steel project in Sweden. It's instrumental in showcasing that it is possible, but I still believe there is a challenge to prove the scalability and economics of it. And this is happening as we are speaking. So in addition to your very valid points, industry special group conservatism, very typical. Thank you very much.
That's a very good point, I think. Also looking into the internal dynamics of industries and companies and how to create change. So people also often use battery electric vehicles as an example, where previously companies that had internal combustion engines, they had to ring fence the new part to prevent it from being killed. I don't know how you solve that in LKAB or other companies. I don't have the insight, but we have people from there. So
you don't have the insight on insight, or what? Thank you for the very Göteborg joke already now. It will be a long day. Okay, but well, thank you very much, Lars. And we might have something about not conventional. Maybe you should add some point on that on the slide next time, next year, if we do the same. Thank you very much, Lars.
Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, I would have said that you are a professor at Lund University and all this, but you have it in the program if you have missed that part. He's a very important person, just to let you know.
I'm not a man for titles. So
no, me neither. So sorry, but maybe for European colleagues, maybe they wanted to be introduced. Okay, now it's the moment that we are looking for to hear more from INCITE as such. INCITE is the innovation center, and they will of course explain what it is. As I said, it's 1 year of work they have done. We have not yet, I should say, decided the rules on how to manage INCITE. The rules on INCITE will come 2026. So it's a trial and error for both INCITE, for all the IED community, for all that want to upload things on the platform. We don't have exactly how to do it. That's why it's very good to have this type of discussions during this year. But it's also very difficult. No one knows how to do, and we just try to drive and steer the car as such. But now I will give the floor to Erik Aries, who was here last year. I invited. The first thing they did after Midsummer Eve was to come to Sweden, and they were showcasing some first-of-a-kind installations and also participated to this event. So Erik and a colleague was here at that time, and they cannot come one more time because they have to go to different member states, of course. But they will come, hopefully, another time. But they are on the line, and I hope everything now works. So I will welcome you, Erik, and colleagues, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eva, and I hope that the sound is good. So first of all, good afternoon to everybody. We are very happy to be here today and to take stock a bit about what has been happening in INCITE in the past year. Before we start, I would like to thank, in particular, from the Commission, of course, Jernkontoret, Eva Blixt, of course, and Annika for putting up this event, as well as Swedish Metals and Minerals. And we are very happy to see the very high level of participation that has been achieved in this website, in this webinar, sorry, from the Swedish EPA, Swedish Energy Agency, Swedish Agency for Economic and Regional Growth. I mean, very, very high level. And it's also an opportunity for us to enter directly into contact with research institutes like Sverim or RISE, but also with technology provider, which is very important to INCITE. So thanks a lot to have put this event together. I'm here today with two of my colleagues, José Andrés González Cuenca, and also Vanessa Ferreira Almeida. And we will try to update you on this important project for the Commission and for Europe, I think. So let's move on. Okay, so let's have a look to the program today. I will need to do, of course, a short introduction about INCITE because we are aware that maybe this year there are people who were not here last year, so we always need to do a little introduction. Look at what has been achieved in 2025. Some important stakeholder activities that we have done this year on site visits and sectoral workshops. So we need to talk about that. It's very important work for INCITE. And the information exchange. How is the information exchange working now? We have slightly evolved compared to what we were imagining to do at the start. So we need to update you on that. We will also go through the information platform. I will try to give an online demonstration. Shortly to look at several technology which have been published on INCITE, and then go back to the slide and give you an outlook for next year. Next slide, please. Okay, so quick introduction about the Innovation Center for Industrial Transformation and Emissions. As you may know, so this has been is a key element in the revised Industrial Emission Directive, which was published in 2024. Specifically to tackle industrial transformation. In the Sevilla process, so the Sevilla process, which is used to develop the best available technique reference documents, the environmental norms for industry in Europe. As you know, we have been looking specifically at best available techniques which are widely implemented across the industry, well characterized. But I mean, this project, INCITE, is to look at innovative technologies which are not widely implemented, and to really characterize them and understand a bit their environmental performance and degree of maturity. So INCITE is a project which is here to stay. It's in the directive, so that will it's established under this directive and will go on. We are interested in innovative technique for decarbonization, for example, depollution, energy efficiency, circular economy, but also efficient water and raw material use. We are interested in technology at high readiness level, between 6 and 9, and also techniques which are just commercialized. That is also very good, and we are looking also for this technology in particular. Yes, at the moment we have a focus on energy intensive industries. It doesn't mean that we will always focus on energy intensive industries, but we have decided to prioritize that at the start of the INCITE project because it's a priority of the moment, we believe, but other sectors from the IED will be covered later on. Next slide, please. Okay, so how do we work in INCITE? What are exactly the added value, and how is it? How are we positioned in a way? So INCITE take a bit of a central role, and is interacting with a number of stakeholders, so who hold information on those innovative technology. So this is very important. This information is in the hands of various stakeholders: industry, the plant operators, research and technology organization, the technology providers which are providing the technology and selling them to industry, the member states, competent authorities, and academia. So INCITE interacts and try to get information on those innovative technology from all those stakeholders. And we are, in a way, curating this information. We want to curate this information to make it understandable to number of people to document, to showcase those technology. And we will do that through an annual technical report on innovative techniques that we plan to publish on a yearly basis. But also, once we finish with a specific technology, we want to publish it also on our information platform to really showcase the success stories and the very good technology which are implemented, in particular in Europe, but also elsewhere, if that is the case sometime. So what are the beneficiaries of this work? I mean, why do we do this work? I mean, first of all, we do this work because we want to push those innovative technology towards the next environmental norms, which are going to be written for industry through the Sevilla process. So some of those innovative techniques, emerging techniques, will be included in the future what's called BAT conclusions or best available technique conclusions, and will have to be applied by industry. So this is very important. Also, that will help us to prioritize also the BREF, the best available technique reference document. And some of those emerging techniques will gain access to some flexible permitting rules as well. So that is important to identify them, to make sure that they get access later on to those rules. INCITE will provide, of course, a lot of visibility because we will be interacting with the stakeholders in charge of those development projects. So we will have a lot of visibility about the state of innovation in a given sector, for example. And we, of course, work in the Commission with other policy DG, like, for example, DG Research and Innovation, RTD in Brussels. And they come to us and ask us very often to give them insight about funding priorities in Horizon Europe, for example, what are the next funding priorities and so on. So we can advise them on research and innovation priorities, very important. We also have links established with some financial institutions, for example, the European Investment Bank, who also get a number of projects on their table asking for funding. And we've been told by the European Investment Bank that they need to assess, of course, those projects, and they would benefit from our reports and publications about this technology to make their decision about funding or not projects. So that are the beneficiaries of INCITE and the benefits, of course, of this project. Next slide, please. Okay, since last year, when I was here in Stockholm, I mean, the policy landscape has evolved. You may know that, you are aware of that. The Commission has launched now the Clean Industrial Deal, Competitive Compass, and there are a number of measures which are under the Clean Industrial Deal, like the Steel and Metal Action Plan, for example, the Chemical Industry Action Plan, and the Industrial Accelerator Act, which should come out by the end of this year. And it is very important to note that in the Steel and Metal Action Plan, for example, in March this year, but also in the Chemical Industry Action Plan, INCITE is specifically mentioned. INCITE is mentioned, for example, the output of INCITE should be used by investors, financial institutions to decide on the technologies that would need to be promoted in the steel and metal sector. In the chemical industry, the INCITE will look at innovative technology in this sector, and the most effective and viable innovative technique would be included in the best available technique conclusion. So it is very important that INCITE is actually mentioned also. It's part of the Industrial Emission Directive, but it's also in the Commission. The project INCITE is seen as key for the Clean Industrial Deal implementation. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's move on now about what INCITE has achieved already this year. So as you know, we launched in June 2024. We had this very successful event here in Sevilla. And then we launched this information platform that I will mention later in October. We had really our first big stakeholder event in May this year, in 2025. That was the first INCITE sectoral workshop on iron and steel. Very successful event. I will come back to that later. And we are about, in 2 weeks' time now, to organize the second INCITE sectoral workshop, this time on cement, lime, and magnesium oxide production. We are gearing towards this first report on innovative techniques. So we have assessed, we have received information and looked at a number of technologies. Some are already published on our website, and we want to produce this report early next year in the first quarter. We have also the roles of INCITE that was mentioned by Eva during the introduction. This is a commission implementing decision. Essentially, it's a document which will explain the task of INCITE, the role of INCITE, the working operating procedure of INCITE, and this document will come after in 2026 as well. So we're going to start working. Enfin, we have already a draft, but we are working on that as well. Next slide. So I want to highlight now some of the key activities which are very important to INCITE, the stakeholder engagement activities. This is very important, and coming back a bit about presentation of Lars, it is clear that INCITE now provides we are an interlocutor for industry and people who are in charge of developing first of a kind installation to learn and to disseminate information about those new technology. So this is key. And that was not available before, I think, in the Commission. And this is really our role. So what we do is we also go and meet actually the people on site. So we started last year in Sweden, indeed, and we went to see Kanthal, but also Hybrid and Segra, very large iron and steel project in Sweden. We had, in February 2025, we went to Germany, Belgium, France, and we went to see a number of ArcelorMittal sites, again, on iron and steel. We also visited recently this year, in September, the first cement carbon capture plant in Brevik. So that's the first CCS project in Europe for the cement, Heidelberg site, very important. And we also starting to work on the chemicals and pulp and paper. So we had also site visits there. More recently, with the collaboration of CEFIC, we managed to get site visits in the chemical sector. We went to visit Covestro with a new polycarbonate production plant process, which was very interesting. And INEOS, which is developing project one, which is an electric cracker, but also we visited a chlor-alkali production plant. And we have more site visits in Italy, actually next week, to look at electric arc furnace technological advancement since the last breath, which is very important. So it's very important. The site visits, it's a way to really interact with the plant operators and really understand for us in the INCITE team the technological development. Next slide, please. Okay, another very important action from the INCITE project is putting together what we call the sectoral workshop. The sectoral workshop is a key element for us because it's a way to gather around the table all the stakeholders which are involved during the industrial transition in the development, in the innovation and development of technology. So this is very important. And this first event, we believe, was very successful. It was the first time that all the stakeholders, industry, technology provider, commission, member state, financial institution, came around the table to discuss about the decarbonization, the depollution, the circular economy progress in the iron and steel sector. It was a very successful event, more than 200 people online, 77 in person. We had 20 technical presentations, some of the biggest decarbonization projects in Europe, but also some very interesting circular economy and industrial symbiosis projects. So that was really a success, and we plan to organize more workshops on other sectors, of course, next year. But I'll come back to that later. Next slide, please. Okay, as I said, we are now preparing this second sectoral workshop, this time on 3 sectors. In fact, it's cement, but also lime and magnesium oxide. So that is a 2-day event where we will showcase a number of projects again, projects which are linked to carbon capture, for example, in the cement industry, or alternative cement materials, but also circular economy. We will have also participation of the lime and magnesium oxide industry, and with some key projects there. So it's still possible to register to this event actually online. It should be a very interesting event, and we are gearing up towards that at the moment. Next slide, please. Okay, we also this year engage significantly with the member states, because the member states also are a key stakeholder for INCITE. And over the summer, we actually had one-to-one meetings with all the member states, including with Sweden, of course, and essentially to raise awareness and understand a bit with them how they can contribute to INCITE, because this is key. I mean, in the directive, the member states shall support in the work of INCITE, so it is clear that they have a role to play. And for us, I've put here is the non-exhaustive list, but I think it's important point to understand what could be the role of the member states in the INCITE project. First of all, we think that the member states have also a lot of visibility about innovation projects, of course, in their respective countries. So they could help us to identify, to prioritize some research projects, sometimes nationally funded, to which is much more difficult for us to find information, to give us information on this type of projects, and also to help us prioritize. Germany, for example, this year gave us some information for prioritization of projects, which was very useful to us. And I think that is an important point. Sometimes member states could volunteer, and this has been the case in Sweden, to organize webinar or event like the one today, or for example, to raise the awareness and to bring national stakeholders who could participate to INCITE. And here I recall this event organized by the Swedish EPA, the webinar organized on the 3rd of June. We want again to thank you for that. This is a good example of how the member states can raise, in fact, interest for this project. Very importantly, the member state needs to participate actively to the sectoral workshop. That is key, because they are involved, of course, in the permitting sometimes of first of a kind installation. Some member states which are running competent authorities which are also involved in innovation program, innovation funding programs, can come and also advise during those workshops. And they can also present. I mean, we had a presentation from the member states which were given during the sectoral workshop on iron and steel from Germany and from Sweden as well. So that is very important. It is also very important that the member states join the site visits to first-of-a-kind installations, because it's an opportunity for them also to learn about those new innovative projects. So we tend to systematically extend the invitation when we organize site visits to all the competent authorities, so they can join, and they have joined us in Norway, in Belgium, and in many countries. And I thank them for that, because I think it was very good. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's have a look now on why do we need to share information with INCITE on innovative techniques. I mean, it may not be so straightforward, but what exactly, why do we need to do it? I mean, first of all, it's very important to understand that INCITE, as I said, is becoming a kind of central, pivotal hub in a way to get information on those innovative technology, and we will end up having a kind of on our platform key information on the innovative technology which are developed in the sectors. I think we are gearing up towards that, and it is very important that this information, the most up-to-date information, the most clear information is in a single place, because it's more accessible, and it is very important to understand those innovation. So a key benefit, in fact, is to contribute to establish an assessment of the degree of innovation in a sector. We can also identify some funding gaps. So, because we do not only get information on the technology itself, but we also get information sometimes on the level of funding. We get information sometimes on barriers to implementation, about permitting, legislation, infrastructure. Those are messages that INCITE can also deliver, can also pass on, if you want, to try to help to promote this technology, to help their deployment. It's very important. If we identify some barriers, we need to write about it and make sure that action could be taken later on. So another important, and that is becoming, we can see that now with a lot of people a lot of projects who have participated with us, people need visibility because there are some success stories here. We have some very, very good projects in Europe which are at ITRL, which are close to commercialization, which can be widely deployed. And there is a lack of visibility. We need visibility. We need to talk about it. We need to showcase the benefits of those innovative techniques. And that's what we are trying to do through this INCITE annual report, but through our platform as well. So really showcase the good stories which are available. Medium to long-term benefits. That is, it takes a bit longer, but there are some medium and long-term benefits. If the technique, of course, is identified as an emerging technique, that, as I said, will give rise access to special permitting rules for the plants who will be implementing them. For example, 30 months derogation to meet some environmental norms. So that is important. Also, if it's a technique becomes a best available technique, of course, that becomes a technique with a sectoral reference, and it could be a technique which needs, if it enters a bad conclusion, which will need wide implementation. So a technology provider, for example, that is a way, of course, to deploy more of these technologies. So that's quite important. So those are the key benefits. Let's go next slide, please. Okay, so let's go more into detail now about the nature really of information that needs to be shared with us. Okay, so we came down now to this slide. This slide really summarizes information that we need to describe an innovative technique well. So we need to get a technical description of this technique and highlighting its purpose, of course, but also its benefits compared to an alternative technological solution. So we need, of course, to compare this new technology compared to a baseline situation, okay? And we need to understand if it's a technology for decarbonization, depollution, circular economy, or maybe the free aspects as well. So very important. We need to get information on the project which is supporting this technology, if possible. Then we need to get information on the degree of maturity. That is key. We need to understand at which technology readiness level this has been developed. Is it scalable? And what are the next steps and future developments for this technology? So that is very important. A key section for us, of course, is environmental benefits. We need to understand what are the environmental benefits of this technology. We here employ an integrated approach. So this is very important to the INCITE process, which means that if someone submits to us a decarbonization technology, we do not only need to get information on the greenhouse gas emission reduction. Of course, we need information on that, it's key. But we also need to get information on potential emission reduction from NOx or SOx, on potential opportunity for circular economy, on energy or water consumption. We need to understand the overall environmental benefits of this technology. So if you are a technology provider and you want to submit information to us, we may be asking you questions about, what are the emissions of NOx from this technology, what will be your energy consumption, and so on. Don't take it badly, but it's important to understand, in fact, the entire benefits of a technology. We also ask information on the potential cross-media effects. So those are maybe trade-off, an increase in water consumption and an increase in energy consumption, for example. We ask information on CapEx, OpEx, and simple payback period economics. And as I said, potential barriers for implementation. Those are messages that we could pass, of course, to try to resolve some issues, in particular for the deployment of technology. So those are very important messages that we also would like to hear from the plant operators and from the technology provider in charge of those projects. Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide is also important because it has slightly changed compared to last year. Last year, the message was you can go to our platform and you can start submitting information. And we have to be perfectly honest, we thought it would be working this way, but we realized that it didn't work this way because people, the platform is maybe not that straightforward to use for plant operators or for technology provider directly. So we decided to design a new way of working. Okay, this new way of working is summarized here. It's relatively simple. We tend to organize now bilateral meetings with the technology provider or project coordinator. In this meeting, generally, the person in charge is giving us a presentation of this technology. We ask questions. And after this, we ask the person in charge to give us a written submission using a template, in a Word template, where the technology can be described according to the points I mentioned before. We, together with the technology provider, the project coordinator, we refine this submission, we improve the submission, we ask for more data, we check some data as well. The INCITE team has access, for example, to Compass, which is a commission website where we can look at reports on specific projects. So we do not include data which are confidential, but we check some data to check really the benefits of some projects. And so we do this quality check. Once this, how can I say, once this document is completed, this will be included in the INCITE report, okay? But then we ask the project coordinator, for example, to create an entry in our platform, and we populate, based on this document, we populate the platform for the person. So they do not have to do it, we can do it, because we know where to put the information, and then we ask them to look again, to make sure that they are happy with the content, and we publish the information. So this is now the process. I think it has been is working well. We can see that it's working well because submission of information is picking up. We are publishing techniques now, and people seem to be happy with the process. So we are planning to keep that going for the years to come, at least for now. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a platform. So our platform, of course, is still ongoing. There is still the possibility to submit directly to the platform if you want to, but we may get back to you and ask you to fill in first the Word template. But you can, if you want, submit directly to the platform. We get back to you and we will organize things. So that's no problem. So the platform is there. I will after have a look a bit to the platform in the slides, so we can move to the next slide. I will come back to that. Okay, next slide. Okay, so those are some technology which have been already published on the platform, which are available. So I invite you to start looking at it. So those technology, a lot of them are from the iron and steel, because as you can imagine, we got a lot of information from the sectoral workshop and the site visits that we did in this sector. But we have also technology from the cement sector, in the mining sector. We have technology linked to the water treatment technology, cross-sectorial technology. So this is building up. Those are the technology which are published so far. We can go to the next slide. We have more technology here now, which are currently under review. Again, from iron and steel, cross-sectorial for water. In the glass sector, very important innovation fund project here that we engaged with very recently. And also some technology multi-sectorial also for non-ferrous metal. Actually, that's a submission from Sweden that we need to finalize about the process calculation tools for metal and mining sectors. Okay, so this is actually going well. So what I propose now is I will try to go on to the, I will try to share the screen, okay? Okay, and share, I will go on to the platform. You will have to tell me, if possible, and tell me that you actually see it. Because I don't know if you see it. Yes, I think you see it now. Okay. Okay, good. So this is our website, as you can see. So, well, we have the various sections here. We have a news section on our website. We have here the announcement for the upcoming workshop on the Siemens. So you can click here and you can register online to our event. You have still 15 days to do it. It's in 2 weeks' time. So you can do that. And then here we have the innovative techniques. So you can look here at the innovative techniques which have been published. So we can go there. Okay, so the innovative techniques published always come with a location. So we can have a look at the map. I can take, for example, this one. This is a technology which was published recently, actually from a Swedish technology provider, Kanthal. We finished this technique. So you click here, and you see you have a fact sheet which appear. So this is about an electric process gas heater. It can be implemented in direct reduction of iron ore plants or blast furnaces plants, an electric heater. So it's a key technology for preheating gas in this type of furnaces. So that you get, this is how the information is displayed, the technology readiness level, the environmental purpose, the sector, activity, whether it's under development. Then we have a technical description. We have the degree of maturity, which is explained. And we have documents, supplementary documents that you can download. You have the participant company. We have actually 2 technology providers on this development, which is Kanthal and Danieli. We have actually 2 implementations which are foreseen. First one in Italy, in a small DRI plant that is being commissioned there as well. And in the Emirates still, a larger plant where it will be tested. Then we go to the environmental benefits. We have information about the greenhouse gas emissions. We have the technology which is compared. So this is, of course, a process gas heater in a DRI. So we are comparing that to a process gas heater, of course. Emissions pollutant to air, economics data. So the key point here is you get, I mean, for anybody interested in this technology, you would, of course, within 5 minutes, get the most up-to-date information on this technology, looking through this. So this is what we are trying to achieve. Showcase really the technology and advertise it and show within 5 minutes you can look and where we are going, and what has been achieved. So this is key, I think, for the INCITE project. This is what we are trying to achieve. You can also go to the table form. You don't need to follow the map. And I want to here maybe try this technology again. So this is also a technology that we just published recently. Is the SEGWEX, the technology, sorption enhanced water gas shift reduction for production of hydrogen from steelmaking process gases. It's also a technology linked to Sweden because it has been the pilot plant actually is located in Zverim. As you can see here, it's going down. Yes, located in Zverim. SSAB is also a partner in this project, and it's a very important project trying to convert post-combustion capture of CO2 and also to valorize this by production of hydrogen. So that is a very, very important project. It's part of a European funded project, which is INCITE, which is currently ongoing. And you can get here information on the benefits in terms of emission of pollutants to air, benefits in terms of energy efficiency, the benefits in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. So very importantly, it has to be said that this technology is finished. So what you see here also on what is on the website is actually what is also written in the INCITE report, which will be published a bit later. But essentially, the text is identical. Okay. So I just wanted to show you in practice how two technology really how it is displayed and what we are trying to achieve here. So I think that's all I wanted to say for now. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Alors, how do I stop sharing? Okay, and I think you would need to go back to the slides so I can finish. Okay, I have just two slides. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay. Okay, so this is actually the last slide of the presentation. It's to give you a bit of an outlook in 2026. So very, very importantly, I mean, the key output for us is this technical report. This technical report really will be the first output of INCITE, and it's very important that we get it right. What it will contain the detailed information on the environmental performance, degree of maturity, cost effectiveness of the innovative techniques that we have been able to gather information on in 2025. It will not be an exhaustive report because it's only 1 year of operation. We are tackling 6 of the biggest energy-intensive sectors. You can understand that there is a lot of work to be done. But we have, I think, good information on the iron and steel sector. We will have more after the cement workshop, good information on the cement sector. And next year we will expand after. We want to continue to provide advice on research priority funding programs. So that's for Horizon and RFCS, for example. We sometimes also, INCITE is called by DG Competition to help with technical support for state aid applications. So they are asking us about whether this project is innovative and so on, and we try to help them as well. So that is also an activity that we have been taking up on an ad hoc basis, let's say. We will carry on that. Next year, very importantly, we want to expand work on several energy-intensive industrial sectors. So get past cement and iron and steel and move on more on pulp and paper, glass, chemicals, non-ferrous metal, and refineries. We are planning 2 sectoral workshops next year. The first one is likely, I'm not saying it is for sure, but it is likely that it will be on pulp and paper because the upcoming brief revision of the pulp and paper has been published. And we will have to decide on which one will be the next sectoral workshop. And of course, we will carry on the site visits throughout 2026. Very importantly also, we want to expand work on other cross-sectorial innovative techniques, in particular on depollution. We want to work more on depollution. We have been developing collaborations with, for example, the EU Water Tech Accelerator, which work with a number of stakeholders in the water area. And we want to get more information on innovative technology for water treatment, water efficiency in particular. We want to go through more engagement also with live projects, very important program, and to get more technology on depollution. Okay, so next slide, please. So just first of all, thank you once again for this great opportunity that you have given us, this great platform. Thank you for our attention. You have here our website. You can send us an email directly through our functional mailbox. Don't be scared. You do not need to start submitting information directly to the platform. If you don't want to, you can send us an email. We can have a meeting. We can discuss with you and you can explain to us the technology and we will guide you through the submission process. So that's no problem. We are always here to help and we really want to showcase the success stories and the good technology of the future. I think this is key. And we also want to pass information which are key to legislators in Brussels also, which are part of the Commission, but we also need to pass information because we are on the technical side and our mission is to give advice to the policy side. And so if there are barriers to implementation, it is our mission in INCITE to pass on those messages. And this is why this project is also key, because you can tell us what are the key issues and we can try to pass that on in our report. Okay, so I wanted to finish on that. And thank you very much. And I think I've been too long, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. It's good that you say it yourself, that you have been too long, so I didn't need to say it. No, it's okay. You're still on time. The problem is there is not so many minutes for questions, but you are here full day today. You will be here with 2 colleagues. Maybe we can put them on the screen as well so we can see them all, so they are not hiding. But anyway, we have time for a few questions, and then if you have a question, all of a sudden, just raise your hand later, even if it's in the panel here. All of a sudden someone thinks, oh, I didn't get what Eric said. Then we just leave here and go to online, and Eric or Vanessa or Jose will reply. So this is what you are part of the team, and you have different responsibilities. Eric is, of course, you might understand that, very into the details for iron and steel. That's why he's doing the presentation today. Okay, anyone that wants to start with a question? Okay, yeah, go ahead, Christina. Yeah, we will have a mic.
Yes.
Introduce yourself.
Okay,
Yeah.
hi, Christina Jönsson from RISE. Thank you very much for a nice introduction to INCITE and also presentation. Eric and colleagues, I have a question around, you mentioned that there is a really nice mechanism for capturing barriers to implementation or scale up or market introduction, I guess, for novel technologies. But you also mentioned when it came to advising the research community and research funding, technology gaps, how to identify them. So I just wonder, what kind of mechanism do you have for really identifying technology gaps needed, I guess, for sustainable development within different sectors? Thanks.
Excellent question. Who wants to reply from your side in Seville? Jose,
Well,
maybe?
I can. Okay.
Or Eric,
Go ahead.
whatever. You have to find
Me,
it.
for example, just to change faces on the screen. So I'm Jose Gonzalez, very pleased to be here today. And as Eric has said, thank you very much for this event. In particular, I'm taking care of the chemicals within INCITE, although we all support all sectors, but just for you to know who is behind each sector. So just in response to your question, Christina, that is very relevant, we are having different mechanisms to get that. The most important one is that bilateral interviews that we are having with the project leaders and coordinators. No? This is the best way to really have an input of the potential problems that the projects are having. No? Also, the site visit that Eric presented are a real example of how we can get closer to industry. So we go to these site visits to see the real performance of the project, but also to listen directly from industry what were the problems in scaling up the projects, deployment, and so on. So this is also very important. And another source for that is also key, is the workshop. This is another very important part. The workshop we organize in different pathways, so it's an opportunity to present initiatives and solutions, but also organizing pathways in such a way that we can also discuss during those final part of each pathway, what are the problems, if the pathway, whatever it is, no circularity, electrification, what are the problems that this particular, not just the technique, but the pathway is having in the sector to really achieve full targets. No?
Okay, thank you, Jose, for that. I think also we can help you with that in the room. We are 70 people here in the room, so we might send in some barriers to you as well. Thank you. There was Johan. Maybe introduce yourself.
Thank you. Johan Schünersana. I'm the Director General of the Swedish EPA. I mean, you start to gather some experience now after working on this for 1 year. And of course, one of the critical success factors is really to get industry on board, to get companies on board. And I know that this has partly been a challenge. I mean, we have to spread out to other sectors. Can you say what your experience is now in terms of motivators, incentives? What seems to be working in order to get really the key actors on board? What are the, I mean, there are barriers for that as well, but what are the incentives that you see are success factors also from other countries and your experience there?
Well, maybe I can,
Yeah, go ahead.
try to respond there. Okay, thank you for the question. And yes, of course, there are always barriers, but I have to say that, you know, we had meetings with all industry associations right from the start in this project. And it is fair to say that we have a very good support from all industry associations on this project. Eurofair, I take an example, Eurofair has set up technical working group to support the work of INCITE, which brings together plant operators and also technology providers. And this is a way to help us, to support us, and we get access to them, and they help us to set up site visits and so on. So I think this is good. We have the same also with CEFIC. Very recently, we had a very successful event. I mean, maybe Jose, you can maybe expand a bit on that after. So we see a good support from all industry, but it is fair to say also that sometimes we see a reticence because we have projects. It depends a bit on the status of the project. When you have a project which is only starting, for example, let's say an innovation from projects, which is planned for 4 years, and it has only been going on for 1 year. So we may engage with them, but of course, it's only starting, so this is a bit of a barrier. They don't want to share information, so this is a bit complicated. So we need to engage with the projects when they are at the end to understand what has been the output, the outcome of this project, and make sure that they understand that it's important that they disseminate the information to showcase what has been achieved. I mean, this is key. There are sometimes some reticence, but we are trying to work through it. It's not always easy, but I think overall the response has been okay, to be fair.
So thank you, Eric. I think also if you are part of being active in the European Industry Organization, then you are a part of that. If you're not so active as industry there, you are not a part of it, and then you can be excluded. But I think also the question is coming a little bit more from how can we be sure that all the Swedish examples that we have will be on the program, on the workshops. This is what we are asking for, but he was asking much more polite, I think, Johan. But I'm not shy, you know that, you know me, Eric. So this is, we want to be part of, and I was part of Eurofer, so it was easy for me to bring all the Swedish, we will hear more about that, Swedish examples. But if you're not very active, then it's not so easy. So it's sort of also, how do you connect directly with all our technology providers that we have in the room, the researchers that we have here, without being needed to go via industry, which is a bit odd to say for me being industry, but just to explain, I think. Do you have any advice there?
Well, yeah, I think what is important, I think, in INCITE is, at the end of the day, those innovations are developing, key technology, which sometimes are not, I have to say, sometimes they are not fully well understood by everybody. I mean, this is new. Those innovations are new, and we need to understand how they are working, what are their benefits, what are their impacts. Because if we do not have this information at hand, it's very difficult to start making decisions on the policy side, for example. And so it is very important to get this information, and INCITE really, the role of INCITE is to really give that. I think that's what is important. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. I mean, time is really running quick now. We're 3 minutes already losing time, but you will be there, and all the other questions that you had, I saw it was many hands. So we have more questions for you, but I think we should also keep the time. That's why I'm the moderator here, trying to keep track of the time. So I think we stop the questions now, and we keep the questions so we remember them, and we will come back to them. So with that, a big thank you so far, and we will continue to work. Thank you.
Okay.
And also to say, I mean, all the slides that we're showing today, I will send them out later, tomorrow or maybe on Monday, but you will get all the slides. And that is really important. The mail address to the INCITE is there. Mail bomb them either Friday or Monday, because they really now are open for proposals from Sweden, both for the workshops, for the first of a kind, and for the platform. So with that, I think we should change a little bit to something that is really, really connected, because we have a project called Impact INCITE. Not INCITE, but Impact INCITE. And maybe we can have this. Here is the project team that we have had now for almost a year. We started it. We were saying, Sverige was saying last year, we will start a project about this. We will try to get money to really impact INCITE. And that name came actually from Darja Isaksson, which was here last year. She said we should impact INCITE. So we got some money from that, and we have a project. And you see the project people here. I will ask Tova and Jill to come up here on the stage. So welcome very much. And then rest of the program project persons will sit in the audience. But just to know, so you know who it is, I want to introduce you to all, and you can talk to them during the coffee. So we have, well, let's see, we have Marcus over there. Maybe you can raise up so Marcus from LKAB. There we have, and then we have Nicola here in the very front. And oh, you arrived! Great, just in time, as always in industry. Behind there, I didn't see you. I was a bit worried. So that's Jesper from SSAB, and then we have also there you are, Stina. From Teknikföretagen, which is the technology providers. And did I miss? Yeah, Lars, of course, but you already seen him before, so I don't make that. Now I will take over the mic, and I will be the mic keeper, and very much welcome, and I sit down and be quiet.
Thank you. Upgraded from microphone carrier to actual speaker.
Thank you, Eva. So now Eric has told us everything we need to know about the EU Centre INCITE. And now me and Jill will tell you everything you need to know about the Swedish project Impact INCITE. Yes. So Sweden is coordinating this project, and me and Jill are the project leaders. Okay, so Impact INCITE is the national project that started in November last year, and it runs until the end of this year. It is funded by Metals and Minerals and Net Zero Industries. And like Sussie mentioned, it is part of Impact Innovation, which is Sweden's major innovation initiative to tackle the challenges of today and for the future. And the Impact Innovation Program is funded by the Swedish Energy Agency, Formas, and the Swedish Innovation Agency, Vinnova. The call is focused on regulations and policy instruments and for a sustainable industry. So our main goal in Impact INCITE is to raise awareness of INCITE in Sweden and to support the Swedish contributions, especially for the iron and steel sector. We have built a strong consortium with stakeholders from tech providers, mining companies, steel producers, trade associations, universities, and research institutes. And the participating organizations in Impact INCITE are Kanthal, LKAB, SSAB, Technology Industries of Sweden, and Jernkontoret, the Swedish Iron and Steel Producers Association, Lund University, and the Metals Research Institute, Sverige. So, well, why does INCITE matter to Sweden? Sweden is a leader in industrial innovation, and it is crucial that INCITE knows what we are doing, because the technologies listed on the platform will influence future environmental permits. And INCITE provides decision makers with a benchmark of best available techniques and helps guide future research funding and investment. And also, it's a great tool to keep track of what's happening across Europe.
Okay, so now you know what the project is, who we are, and what sort of why it's important. But then a bit more about what we were supposed to do during this year. So one deliverable was to disseminate information and arrange events and participate in events. Another one was to secure that Sweden was well represented at the workshop in May for iron and steel sector. Then to promote and support that Swedish innovations would be uploaded on the platform. and also to help evaluating them so that the techniques on the platform are relevant and correct. And also these first-of-a-kind visits to ensure that some of those are in Sweden, and also report learnings, so the outcome and what can be used for future work in this and other sectors. So that was what we were supposed to do, and now we will also tell you how it went so far. The year is not ended yet. So the first one, to disseminate information. This has been a big part. We set a target in the beginning to reach more than 200 people, and I can tell you we have. We have actually done a lot of activities on this, so we can't list all of them. But a few highlights is that we were presenting at Metalliska Material Program Conference in March. So already there we had about 200 participants, but we didn't sit down and relax for that. We continued. So, for example, we were a part of the webinar from the Swedish Environmental Protection Agency. So we see here in the picture that Eva was part of the panel there and had a presentation. Then we've had a lot of other meetings. We have been organizing and participating in workshops and webinars. We have brought this up at conferences and meetings and wherever we go, people from the project group. So summing up, we've reached several hundred people during that. And we've also had some online presence. So we've set up a project webpage. You will get the link. And we have had posts on the partner web pages on LinkedIn. We've been a part of newsletters and so on. And then another important deliverable was related to the iron and steel sector workshop this year. And here you see a snapshot of the program. You're not supposed to be able to actually read it, but the important part is that a large part of it was actually from Swedish participants, about a third. So this was by researchers, from industry representatives, and from authorities. Because we're very active in this work and making sure that we had good representation from Sweden there. So here you see some of the participants, and a number of them are here in this room, so you can ask them later what it was like at the workshop. Yes, and then some deliverables related to the platform.
Yes, so our goal was to get 10 Swedish innovations listed on the INCITE platform, and to identify relevant technologies. We have worked with dissemination, like Jill showed a moment ago, and we have also requested project lists from each national funding agency, and then conducted a thorough review of the research initiatives, and compiled a summary of technologies and looked which would have a potential for inclusion on the INCITE platform. And this process was very labor intensive, and it required manual coordination with each of the authorities, and it took some time. We hosted the seminars and bilateral meetings, and we, like Jill said, we ensured that Swedish techniques were presented at the Iron and Steel sectorial workshop in Seville in May. We had close collaboration directly with the INCITE team, and yes, so Eric mentioned that several techniques are already uploaded, and more are in progress. And how can it be assured that the technologies listed on the platform are accurate and reliable? So INCITE is a work in progress, and from the start they wanted to have an external expert pool to evaluate the techniques, but it was then decided that they will do the evaluation in-house. So that's no longer a part of our project. And Eric also mentioned the first-of-a-kind visit. So The first of a kind visit was in Sweden last year, and it was before this project officially started, but it was basically with the same persons involved. And the delegation visited Kanthal, Green Iron, and the hybrid pilot plant, and Stegra. And a report from the first of a kind visit is available on our website, impactincite.se. So the text on the website is in Swedish, but some of the uploaded material is in English, like this report, for example.
Yes, and then the final deliverable to report the learnings and make it available for others. And we've already had questions about this today. So one of the things we have done in this direction is to have follow-up meetings with the Swedish Environmental Protection Agency. We have this event here and today, 1 year with INCITE, which is of course important for us. And we will participate in a workshop for the projects within this call later this November to share our experiences and discuss with the others. And of course, there will be a report coming at the end of the year. So it will not only be the report that with, economy and what we have done in the project to report to the funding agency, but it will be a report to share our experiences to everybody who's interested in continuing this work. So now we have tried to describe in short what we have been doing, but we also want to hear some voices of the other project participants, more specifically about why they have chosen to work in Impact INCITE. So maybe if we can start with Stina. Do we have a mic?
Hello everyone, Stina Andersson from Teknikföretagen, the technology industries of Sweden. And we have been involved in this work and very thankful and grateful for that. We are representing around 4,500 member companies. And of course, there are technology providers for all industry sectors. And to be short, we like innovation very much. We like new technologies, and of course, INCITE is of big importance for us. Thank you.
Thanks. And then maybe we could get the microphone to Jesper, for example.
He has the microphone.
He has the microphone. That's why you're waving.
I have the mic, yeah.
Great.
All the way in the back. Hello, everybody. Jesper Konsbod from SSAB. We have also been part of this project. I'm very grateful for that. And obvious reason, of course, is a great way to learn more. What is this and why is it important? Second, also, of course, there has been mention about this innovation information platform. And since we have, together with LKAB and Vattenfall, developed a hybrid technology, the INCITE platform is a good way to showcase this, and then of course also hopefully inspire future regulation. And then thirdly, I would say that since the whole kind of case for INCITE is to promote the acceleration of implementation of new technologies, that's exactly what we want to do at SSAB as well. We are investing heavily to transform our own operations here in Sweden, so that goes hand in hand. Competitiveness and decarbonization. Thanks.
Thanks. Yes. And then for Marcus.
Yeah, what Jesper said. Well, basically, I'd say there's a twofold reason for us to be here. One, as is mentioned, we're doing something nobody has done before. We're going carbon-free, and we're using hydrogen technology to do it. We're working heavily with innovation in all our verticals, our technological verticals. So we're gonna, that's one reason. The other reason is we're in a place in Sweden and Europe that's sometimes not even on the maps. We tend to, both Swedish and European maps tend to be cut off somewhere north of Stockholm. And we're working with natural resources. We're extracting iron ore in a very specific part of Europe that's cold, etc. So we need to be able to have the freedom to operate both in implementing the technology we need to do in our verticals, but also to do it in this place of the world. It doesn't help us much if we have legislation and policy and financial support system, etc., that's very suitable for industries in Germany and Spain. So we need to have both the geographical context and the technological context within the freedom to operate.
Thanks. And then maybe we should also mention why Sverim, where we are a part of this. And we're a research institute. We do research, but we don't want it to end up just as a report somewhere. We want it to be, it says there, we create benefit for industry. We want it to be used. We want it to be a part of the green transition. So that's why we spend a lot of time on this. Yes. And now, this project, Impact INCITE, has been focused on the iron and steel sector, but there are a lot of other sectors that are also affected. So this is a long list of BREFs, and you will learn more soon about what that is, describing the sectors. And those that are highlighted are those that are in somehow ongoing work or to be updated. So there are a lot of industries affected by these revisions. Yeah, so that was a brief summary. If you're interested in learning more, which we hope that you are, of course you should take the chance to talk to us today. As you saw, we are all of the project partners are here today, so please come and talk to us during the break.
You can invite us to participate in your events, and you can book a meeting with us.
Yeah, and this webpage that we've mentioned several times, impactincite.se, there we have kind of all the information. We have the relevant links. We have a calendar where you can see past and upcoming events. This first-of-a-kind report is found there. And of course, contact information if you don't catch us today or want to discuss something more later, you can find it there. And that's also where we will share a project report later on. So with that, thanks.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, we have a few. If anyone has a quick question and a quick reply, we have time for that. So let's see. I have the mic here, so I'm now both moderator and mic controller. That's difficult. Maybe a question on that side because Karin is there. Any question for Jill or Tuva? If not, very clear. Thank you very much. And we are here all day, of course, and also after, when we start mingle a little bit later. Yes. So thank you very much. And I now keep back, maybe it's your turn to have the mic. Thank you very much. So iron and steel is for us, of course, the most important. Sverim is working with steel, and we are iron and steel organization. And all those BREFs, it was a small list of BREFs. Those BREFs is all other industry sectors that is emitting. Large emitters are BREFs. BREFs are the text that is regulating the permits, our permits. And that is really why we need to understand a little bit more. We're leaving now the link to research and development and connect it more to the environmental legislation. And I hope you have gotten, there you are, popping up. You had a mic. So I now will want to introduce Isabella. We were actually in Seville last week on the kickoff meeting for BREF for landfill. And that was interesting. And we realized, both of us, that we are a little bit tired, but we are very happy to do this. So welcome, yes. Isabella, and please, you want some water? Or?
Yes,
I fixed that. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, so now it's time for some coming back to basis and looking a little bit at legislation and link between INCITE and Sevilla process and permits. And I will give you some crash course in what Industrial Emission Directive is and BREF process is. As Eric said in his presentation, INCITE is coming from IED, so it's important to understand how this piece of legislation works. So, and since I saw that not all of you raised your hands when Eva asked if you know IED, so I hope that there will be interesting for you to hear. I will also talk about why is innovation important in IED, how INCITE information will be used in permitting, of course, and if I have a minute left, a few words about our work with INCITE, which hopefully will be a good input to panel discussion, which is in the next session. So what is Industrial Emission Directive, or actually Industrial and Livestock really Rearing Emission Directive, since the name was actually changed during the revision of IED. So it is the main EU instrument to reduce environmental and health impacts from industrial installations and intensive livestock farms. And on this pie chart to the right, you can see distribution of Swedish IED installations across different sectors. It's around 30 sectors that is covered by the directive. The biggest in Sweden is waste sector and livestock sector, but of course also chemical industry, combustion plants, food industry, of course, steel and iron and metal, pulp and paper and other sectors. Around 1,300 IED installations in Sweden. And I think it's around 75,000 in Europe now after the revision. So how does this directive work? Well, the overall objective of IED is to prevent, or if not possible, to reduce environmental impact and impact on human health. And to reach this, to achieve this objective, IED requires that all the installations that fall under the scope must have permit. And this permit must in an integrated way regulate emissions to air, water, land, waste management, resource efficiency, circularity, decarbonization, and the permit conditions that are needed for these regulations, where those must be based on what is best available technique. But I think it's basically impossible to talk about IED and not to talk about BAT. BAT is really playing a key role. And what is BAT is identified generally sector for sector in BAT conclusions, which is Commission's implementing decisions. Here focuses on emission levels and performance levels with associated best available techniques. And BAT conclusions is a part of BREF. BREF, we've heard before this. It is BAT reference document. It's much more comprehensive documentation, technical documentation that has much more detailed information about sector, applied techniques and other, which can be used for interpretation of BAT conclusions. And those documents, those are drawn up in a process that is called BREF process or Sevilla process, where information is gathered from installations, analyzed, and those documents are drawn up. So very easy. Yeah, it's not easy at all. It's very complex and long process. And that's why I want to stop here for a moment and talk about BREF process. Since, yes, INCITE is playing a main role here. So this process is managed by EU Bright, and EU Bright also manages INCITE. And they have their office in Seville. You can see it in this upper picture. They are part of European Commission's Joint Research Center. And that's why this process is often called Sevilla process. And the rules for this process are set out in so-called BREF guidance, which is also Commission's implementing decision, which is actually under the revision now. And for each BREF, EU Bright activates technical working group. And in this group comprises of member states, industries concerned, NGOs, European Chemical Agency, and the Commission, of course. And the role of technical working group, of course, is to exchange information, to provide input for the work, and to give feedback on the drafts. And on this other picture, you can see technical working group exchanging information at the kick-off meeting for a chemical BREF. So BREF process can be illustrated different ways. We usually divide it in 5 stages or 5 steps: front-loading, kick-off, data information collection, final meeting, and then decision phase. So what happens during the first step? Well, it is all about preparing for the whole process. Technical working group is activated or reactivated if it's not a new BREF. We in Sweden, we are setting up a national shadow group, and we invite the industry and authorities and all the other actors that are interested and that can contribute. And we collect relevant information. Next step is about setting the frame or the scope for the whole process. And here the technical working group provides initial positions, and then the first big meeting in Sevilla takes place where technical working group is meeting and where decision on the scope of the BREF and or environmental issues is taken. And after that, we start collecting information, select reference installations, so-called well-performing plans. Special questionnaires are designed to collect information, site visits are conducted, and of course this plant-specific data is collected and analyzed. And in the next step, EU Bright proposes first draft of BAT conclusions and BREF. And of course, technical working group can provide comments. And here also we have second big meeting in Sevilla, final meeting. And here the purpose of this meeting is to deliver final draft, which in next step, which is about voting and decision, this final draft is sent to Article 13 forum for its opinion. It's a forum of experts. Here are also the member states and industry and NGOs and commission. And after that, those documents must be approved in Article 75 committee. After that, BAT conclusions are translated and published in official journal of the European Union. And then we have 4 years to follow BAT conclusions. So either permits must be updated according to the latest BAT conclusions, or if BAT conclusions are implemented through general binding rules, then operator has to follow general binding rules 4 years later. So innovation in IAD, I think we all know that innovation is necessary for our transformation to cleaner and sustainable and carbon neutral economy. And that's why when IAD was evaluated before the revision, one of the aspects that was examined was if it adequately support innovation and transformation. And the result was that no, IAD is actually quite weak when it comes to innovation. And the main reason for that is that when data for BAT conclusions is collected, it is often based on past performances. It is very much a backwards-looking exercise. We often say that BAT conclusions are aging for some sectors where there is lots of innovation, lots of development is happening. They are aging quicker, and for others. So that's why during the revision, new provisions were added to promote innovation and industrial transformation. And here INCITE is the main tool, and it is INCITE that is supposed to add this forward-looking mechanism to BREF process that I know INCITE team is talking about often, and shift the focus towards future solutions. So, as we said, INCITE is coming from IAD, and more specifically from Article 27A that was added during the revision. And here we can see the provisions about the establishment of INCITE, that the Commission shall set up and operate INCITE, and this is already done. We've heard about the launch in Seville last year. Here also purpose of INCITE is described: to collect, analyze information on innovative techniques. Role of INCITE in BREF processes. INCITE should inform BREF work program and support the development and revision of BREFs, which means that Commission has to take into account INCITE findings when they prepare working programs and when they are drawing up BREF documents. And it is also said here which actors or stakeholders should I should wrap up. Yes, just notice that this group is bigger than technical working groups. We have research institutions here, we have technology providers, we have other public bodies. And transparency is also important, and we know that the web page was already presented, so all findings are public. How little time do I have? Skip that one. Okay. Yes, okay. Then to summarize, this link between permit and INCITE. So where this information from INCITE is coming in? Well, it is coming in when BREFs are prioritized, in which order they should be revised. It is coming directly to BREF process when those candidate techniques are proposed to technical working group for consideration in bad conclusions, and we heard about different permitting flexibilities that are connected with those ones. And it can also be used directly in permitting, since INCITE is working continuously, not like BREF process that is long and complex. So permitting authorities can always access the information in INCITE, which hopefully helps them in their assessments. I can be quick on this one because I noticed that Eric was actually talking about the role of member state, and I was very happy to see that we seem to have the same picture, so we seem to be on the right path. Support and promote, we think, is very important for us. But what I want to mention, though, since it is 1 year with INCITE, that we have gotten an assignment from our government to ensure that Swedish participate in the startup and formation phase of INCITE and facilitate contacts between INCITE and the industry and research institutions and other relevant actors. And we should have a dialogue with Sweden's Innovation Agency and Swedish Agency for Economic and Regional Growth, and also gather knowledge from them. And this assignment should be reported in the end of November, which is soon, but of course it doesn't mean that we are done with this work. It means rather that we are in the beginning of the path when we are identifying all the things that must be done. Yes, of course I will skip the last page, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Isabella. So we don't need to I mean, I wanted to push a little bit, so we have this assignment, because we will talk about that in the panel after the coffee, so I thought it was good for everyone to see it. And now I think everyone that had not understood the link between the legislation and INCITE, it's very much clearer now. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I also realized, questions we will take during the coffee break, because we will have coffee break. I realized I forgot to stop, come back. You have water, and you need maybe a water bottle, if you want.
Yes.
And also, Lars, you will get one if you behave the rest of the day. And it's in steel, of course. It's steel. The material is very important when you do water bottles, and this one is on steel. So thank you so much. And now it's time for coffee in the way you found the lunch. Thank you so much. Now it's time to dive into what do authorities do about it? We have heard member states and authorities is a key player in this work with INCITE. They are encouraging us to really take action as member states, as government authorities and authority. So with that, I will like to have next slide, maybe with the people that will be in the panel. Thank you. So I have the pleasure to invite, actually it's not so gender balanced panel anymore. It was a little bit gender balanced, but then I got the message from Clara, who was here last year and really had been prepared to come, but she sort of could not make it, and I'm sure there is a good reason for that. So with that, we will not have Clara here, and in a due time, for just a minute, there was not so easy to find another person for that. But we have one in the panel that has been working for the environment, for the energy authority. So maybe he can change hats during the days when I worked at that one. No, I'm joking, of course. So let me introduce you to this very, very, very nice panel. So first of all, we have who already spoke and had a question, Jylesjö from Swedish EPA. You can be whatever you want. If you want water, it's just behind you. So that is that one. And then we have Mattias Blomberg, who is the senior advisor at Formas. And you will explain a little bit what is Formas, because that will be needed for our listeners online, because they don't know all authorities in Sweden yet. But after this day, they will know a few of them. And then we have as well Remy Collesar from working for the Swedish Innovation Agency, which is Vinnova. We have heard it a couple of times already. It has been mentioned in this Impact Insight, Impact Innovation authorities. It's difficult with all this. And then we have Björn. Where are you? There, you sit there. Welcome. So we have Björn Langbeck, who is then working in the Swedish Agency for Economic and Regional Growth. So I think we start with you, Johan. I mean, this was first time, I guess, you heard something about INCITE in this context. I know we met when we had the webinar in Swedish EPA, 3rd of June, and now it's a little bit more time. Yeah. So I maybe reflect a little bit of what you heard so far, and then again, if you have a question that you didn't ask when they were talking from INCITE, please, we have time for that now, because we are not 5, we are 4, so we have a little bit more time. So, okay. Johan, please.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for the invitation. And yes, I do have. I got some insight into INCITE in June when we had that workshop. Since I then had also the privilege to introduce the workshop or the seminar. So my colleagues at the Swedish EPA, they tried their best to really instruct me about that. And thank you, Isabel, for really a good presentation. I learned a lot from that as well, and I think it also explained quite a lot why we at the Swedish EPA are also part of this. I find that really nice and interesting. Of course, it's not maybe something you take for granted, but of course we have a sort of a key role linked to IED, and this is the reason also why we are also now running this government assignment and really looking at the next steps and how we will work on this. So I will not talk so much about the Swedish EPA role, but I will reflect a little bit of what I've heard this afternoon. I think it's been an extremely interesting seminar. Understanding that this is really about trying to form collaboration and ecosystems, which, where government agencies, where companies, where representatives from business, but also, of course, other actors, key actors, civil society, how we can collaborate together to drive an innovation agenda and to get the change we need. But also, interestingly, within the new political landscape of the EU, where competitiveness, security, and all these other aspects are so important, to combine also with the environmental drive. We quite often we talk about the need to have policies guiding us, long-term policies needed for investments. But now we know we are living in an environment where policy and governance is changing rapidly all the time. So the security of long-term policies is not really there. And we have to manage that. We have to manage it as government agencies. We talk a lot about the omnibus process, for instance, and simplification, while we at the same time we need to work with implementation, and I'm sure business feels the same thing. They talk about the need for long-term, but at the same time we know that there is so much change going on. And I think these kinds of discussions and the collaboration we have here is absolutely essential for this. One thing I also really take from this morning, and as something that really stimulated me, I must say, was Impact Insight. Quite often we hear that one of the challenges in Sweden is that we are not really on the ball. We tend to wait a little bit, we wait and see what the EU will decide, and then we start the implementation and we look, okay, so how do we act? Here we see an example where we take the lead, a sector together with research, good funding agencies, taking a lead role, pushing really the agenda, trying to impact what INCITE will be and how we can implement it in a national context. So I think that really shows one of the strengths that we have in this particular engagement that we see this morning. And of course, building on networks, which I think is something also we have as a strength in Sweden. It is quite easy to mobilize collaboration between government agencies, and business, and also involve civil society and academia. This is not a given in many other parts of Europe or in the world. And I think we have something to share that, the experience of how do you really build this kind of ecosystem that you need to drive transformation, but also to drive implementation that leads to change. So these are some of the thoughts, I think, from at least from me, personal reflections from this afternoon.
Yeah. I have the sound? Yeah, thank you. No, thank you, Johan. I'm a little bit flushing here. Thank you for all the nice words, because I'm also part of the project, Impact INCITE. So, well, I think also it's important to understand, maybe you didn't hear it, but online we have at least participants from at least 10 different countries. Yeah. Okay, not all are member states or authorities. They are research institutes, technology providers, but it's good to hear on the Swedish spirit, so it was really good to be.
Yeah, I mean, because we have that government assignment. Of course, we have that formal role to see what should be done afterwards. But having implementation at the same time, yeah. I think it's perfect. We learn from each other, so we push things forward in that way.
Good start, good start. And then I think we go a little bit beyond. So we go to you, Matthias, from Formas. Please first maybe explain what Formas is. Not very long, but short. Go ahead. Welcome.
Sure. Thank you. Very nice to be here, and very nice to listen to all the speakers during this afternoon. It's been a crash course in INCITE, really. Formas is the Swedish Research Council for Sustainable Innovation, or Sustainable Development, sorry. And we support research and innovation within the areas agricultural sciences, environment, and spatial planning. So quite broad areas which cover a lot of the challenges that we are facing in society today. And I really like to listen to INCITE, and the major goal in INCITE is, of course, very much in line with what Formas work, that we want to be able to transform society into something more sustainable. That by cutting emissions from, the large emission industries, that is, of course, really, really important. And both going for the greenhouse gases, but also going for other type of pollutions to air, soil, and waters. That is very much in line with what Formas is working with. For one example, we have 4 different national research programs at Formas, which work on climate, which works on the food system, which work on spatial planning, and also on waters. So that is really in line with that work. And I was also nice to hear that in the end that this cross-sector water technology also will be part of INCITE, which I really liked. Another thing that I enjoyed in the afternoon was listening to also that it's a push in INCITE has to really make industry more transformative. I know a lot of industries do a lot, and they really try to transform what they are doing. And I think INCITE can really help in that, showing them what type of technology can be available. So that's, thank you.
Thank you so much. And then we go to you, Remy. It's more easy maybe to understand because we have write it out, but maybe a little bit explain what is Vinnova and also your reflections from on the first round, what we heard today.
Yes, of course. Vinnova is Sweden's innovation agency and is very much well represented in this process and in this initiative as a funder, but also as what we are doing every day is increasing Sweden's innovation capacity. And we're doing that by mobilizing and bringing actors together. So we're not only funding actors, we are actually working in mobilizing all actors on the forces and the different stakeholders. And this is a very good example for that in this perspective. Very nice to hear the result and also from, especially actually from Impact, INCITE because we're not only funding, we actually gave the name to that thanks to our Director General, Darja Isaksson. So that's also a very good example of what we're doing to support bringing actors together and mobilizing to bring forward innovation and innovation to support sustainability, but also in the very important context that Johan actually explained on the geopolitics, the EU agenda in this time, and combining competitiveness and security and net zero reduction climates. And I think the rationale for INCITE and all the things we've been doing a couple of years ago are actually the same, but we are using it actually to address many other challenges of our time with security and the national security also, actually.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say something about this before I give the floor to you, Björn, because it's a lot of words. So what this project, Impact INCITE, yes, it was what we concluded last year. We had, and you will do it as well. Everyone will have a possibility to say something in the mic, summing up what have we heard today. And then Darja was one of the last ones saying, well, we really need to go and Impact INCITE. So that was so. This was the conclusion from her side last time. So that was just. I just wanted to mention that. But then, like you said, there is this Swedish Metals and Minerals. No, there it is.
Yeah.
Swedish, and we have this net zero industry, which is also a big program that is funded by you, and they are not here. Clara is not here from Energy,
Yes.
and also from sorry.
Formas.
Sorry, it's too much. But there was a call for projects, and I just because it was in Swedish, so I translated it. So the call was really called Impact Innovation Industry, Regulation and Policy Instruments for Sustainable Industry. Sort of working with policy influence. And I will come back to that later because we need to discuss. It was a 1-year project. It was Swedish Metals and Minerals and Net Zero. They did this, and we really appreciate it from the program. It's like if we don't get this money, who will do it? So we were applying for it and got money. But that was 1 year. Policy influence, policy need to be more than 1-year project. So we will come back to this because I think this is a key thing to manage to get out the research, get out new techniques, to help us to transform. We will come back to that, but I want to say, just to explain where this project was coming from. Okay, it's not me who should speak, it's you, Björn. Please give us a little bit of, because you're a little bit different to the other ones here, so maybe, or at least your authority. So please give an introduction to what is this economic and regional growth, which sounds like it's connected to INCITE as well.
Well, the basic idea of the agency is to promote sustainable growth all over Sweden. We have had during the years a lot of focus on especially and the small and medium-sized companies and have them to grow. And we see that this INCITE initiative is very important because it provides a possibility for the small companies to reach the larger market in an easier way, because most of the or at least a lot of the interesting new techniques are developed in the small companies, and they also have. They always have a hard time to find the customers. The first customer maybe they can find, they want to grow, but it's hard to get out on the market and to really meet all their customers. This INCITE initiative, I think, we can provide a very good way for the small companies to reach their market, to grow faster, and especially Sweden has been very good in environmental protection and all of this area. So it's to me it is like a home game for Swedish development and Swedish small companies. We have at Tillväxtverket, our agency, we have had a program called Swedish Clean Tech, where we have promoted the export of clean tech companies, clean tech technology, not only within the EU, but also in the rest of the world. That has been fairly successive, and I think that within INCITE we will have a possibility to do the same. So it is good to have innovations and develop new, but we need to promote also the growth of the companies and to use the new ideas in a broad perspective, a lot of companies and a lot of customers, because that is actually what is driving the change, what is promoting this transformation that we want. So that's our role in this. We do have some money also for invention within the European Regional Development Funds, but that is a small part for us. So the main thing is that we want to get access to the small and medium-sized companies and have them to be part of the INCITE to reach their customers.
Thank you very much. This is one thing that I want to discuss with all of you. How do we find those small companies? How do we get them to know that INCITE exists? Because what Eric and colleagues said from INCITE, this is a marketplace to showcase your technique. I mean, you open up the full EU market for them, but you need to register. It will not happen. So for me, it's important for us to really, one of our conclusions will be, it's very difficult to find the stakeholders that should be uploading techniques. And I mean, I don't know what tool you have, Björn, to reach to the... and I will ask all of you. And I also forgot to say the panel, if you want to take the floor, just sing that. I want you to talk to each other more than with me. So I will not have question answer. I want you... So, well, in the mic, Johan, please. Okay, so do you have any... What do? You send out a newsletter, say, hello, we have INCITE, please register. Or what can we do about this? And that goes for all of you to think about. How can we reach project leaders? How can we reach technology providers? I mean, Jill and Tova, just to introduce, said we spend so many hours on trying to check which project leaders, which programs should we contact to say INCITE exists. Put steel together with Vinnova and try to figure out how many research projects we have. 600. Which one of them should we choose? So this is a question for all of us. How do we reach those stakeholders that should be interested in INCITE? We have many here, we have many online, but there is more to catch. So maybe you start, Björn, because you talked about it a bit already.
There is one European program that is called Enterprise Europe Network, which is a program partly funded by the Commission for SME companies to grow their market on their internal market. I think what is needed is a connection between the EEN, which is run in each member state, and also in some other countries outside the EU, because EEN exists in 70 or 72 countries. That is a marketplace where the small companies that they want to find a new customers are coming in. So we need to get a connection between the EEN program and the INCITE, because they are different ways of working, but they have the same goal, to have a sustainable growth. And so I think that we haven't talked about that today, but we can do that in further on, because I think there is a possibility to find the companies, and also, of course, Vinnova's book of all the projects. I'm one of the persons reading project applications for Vinnova. I've seen so many interesting projects over the years within this area of INCITE, with all the new companies, with all the new ideas and so on. So there must be a very good database of really interesting companies.
That sounds very promising. I just continue. So Johan, and then we do it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I sort of can add very much to this. I'm looking also at my colleague when it comes to sort of trying to reach out to small businesses. But in general, what we are saying as part of our responsibility is to build networks with different organizations. and of course then build networks with those organizations that really have that kind of access. I mean, your organization, for instance, you said 4,500 companies as a membership. I mean, this is typical. I mean, the branch organizations are extremely important in this, I would argue. Many of the large companies are extremely important because they work through their value chains. So they reach them, and I think they can reach them in a way that makes them also more interested, because one of the things, being a small company, they don't have a lot of people who potentially can sit, I guess, in a lot of workshops and you know, travel to Brussels and so on, or meet government agencies for that matter. So it's really about building these ecosystems where you can reach out to different networks where all actors have their role. And I don't think maybe our direct role is to reach out to these small companies, but working with others, for instance, other government agencies that really have that kind of networks and role that we do not. And that's why we are standing all together, you know, the four of us.
It's not a coincidence that you stand together here. I can promise. I have an idea behind it. But I didn't want to especially talk about small companies, even though if they are very important. It was just because Björn was mentioning them. I'm talking about all the stakeholders. If you remember, INCITE was talking member states, industry that is regulated on the IED, industry that is delivering techniques to IED, academia and institutes. So it's about all of them.
And of course, I mean, in some of the other tools that we have, that we also have responsibility for, I mean, CBAM became more large companies as well, but there are other things coming up, like, you know, linked to, what do you call it, producer responsibility and so on. There, of course, we establish huge networks that can be used potentially for these kinds of things as well.
I put note on that. Perfect. So, Remy?
Yes. First, I think to engage all the stakeholders and the Swedish actors in that is very crucial. And that's, of course, something we have to help together and use all the tools and the platforms we already have, not necessarily build new ones, but really use the one we have, as was said before. But what we need also is to communicate so that stakeholders understand what they will get, not what INCITE is, but what is the result of INCITE. And I think this is very important, because it's much easier to communicate the need to be, especially for, if we're talking about small and medium enterprise, they have not the resources, not the time to be part of it if we want to engage them. And so we really have to showcase why this is very important and what we will get from it. So that's something I think we can be better to provide knowledge and information on what is the importance of being in this process.
Yeah, and I think that is what do you get, not what you don't, and why. And I also I must remind you about what Eric said. As long as you can mail one mail, they will help you. This is really what he said. If you mail him, even if you are a small company, you can mail. But so this is, and that goes for all, not only small companies. So and they will help you step by step to do this. We have people in the room that has submitted, and we will hear later about it, submitted on the platform. It takes a little bit of a while to understand what on earth are they asking about, because IED is not familiar to these people. They don't know it. The researchers don't know IED either. But the merit of being on the platform is very, very big. It's on the platform, it's on the technical report, and you got some sort of star mark from Commission, if I put it bluntly. So thank you, Remy, and now over to you, Matthias.
Yes, important point from Remy, I think, to really select what is the value for these technology providers. I'm also thinking about the innovation programs that we are running. Both the one is kind of phasing down, which is the strategic innovation programs. Been running for more than a decade, a very large project portfolio and so on. So there's, of course, some gold to dig in there. And I think then you need to reach out for the ones who have the best overview of that project portfolio. So really reaching out to those companies. Impact innovation is more to come, running for 1.5 years now. So not so many projects have run to completion. So still, of course, they are not starting from zero, so that's also a platform which I think can be used.
Yeah, thank you. And also, I mean, it's also about not only IED, the connection Isabella was talking about, the permits and etc. It's also about sort of saying to inform Commission RTD and the research department where is more money needed. So I mean, there is also this research angle, and maybe to go a little bit beyond about that. You said you have a big project portfolio, but how do we data mine that to be able to find out who should do that work? I mean, we did it, tried to do it for steel, and well, in the end of the day, I said we cannot talk more about lists now. We give up. And Eric was doing the same job for Commission. All the work, all the money that has been funded via Commission funding, they were data mining that, and we did it for Sweden and steel, nothing more. So, how can we? You haven't. I mean, you don't need to give promises now. But what do you think? Is it possible to do? I mean, we have your authority. We have also Vinnova, of course, and we have not today here the energy agency, of which we have the Industriklivet, and there it was quite easy to find project that was really suitable for INCITE. So you have an idea on how to?
Not really. I think it's a challenge to find, I mean, the right project, so to say, and that's why I mentioned, I mean, really reaching out to the ones knows most about the portfolio, like maybe the program director for one program, who maybe have some knowledge about this. So. No good clue for me.
No, sorry, I want to embarrass you. We are brainstorming here because we need help. We need to work together. That's why we have this seminar, this event, this workshop. Johan?
No, I think you said something important. I mean, like,
thank you.
Yes, the Swedish Energy Agency. They have Industriklivet, and we have, of course, Klimatklivet, where also the government is putting in 1.5 billion more next year. So it's 4.5 billion next year. And we have 8 billion sort of in investment, the investment sort of framework, which means that there is a lot of things going on there. And there are quite a lot, both mid-sized and small companies involved. So I think that, of course, there we have to keep very close track of exactly what is happening. So you're right. I mean, I think it shouldn't be that difficult, depending on the sector, of course. To find information that could be interesting also for INCITE and for the way forward, especially when we are broadening out to other sectors as well.
Yeah, you want to say? Yeah.
Yes, one thing I can add to that is that we also have, as part of the the Net Zero Industry Act, we have these regulatory sandboxes, which is also something coming up, and to allow, a better possibility to try innovation without the barrier of the actual regulation, and this is part of the tools we have, and that could be something we can use to actually identify potentially winning solutions for the future. So combining other kind of tools we have, and I think the regulatory sandboxes, which is about to be launched from the EU level, is one key.
Okay, I'm not so familiar. Now we are sort of leaving an area. I don't know so much about these sandboxes. So, but if you say so, I take note of it, of course, and I will use it later. But we can maybe come back to that, because it's interesting again to do this policy influence. Then the regulatory sandboxes, if I understood it correctly, it is a way of testing things.
Yes, in a limited aspect, and then and actually provide not only testing technical solutions, but also actually improving the regulation.
Oh. Great, because this is really what we are doing with INCITE.
Exactly, that's why I...
Oh, okay, I got it. Sandboxes. It's not sandlåda, but sandboxes.
That on the table, yes. Right.
Björn?
Johan, you mentioned something before that we need to reach out to those who have the networks. And I think that is a very good way of doing it, because we, as agencies, we have some network, but we don't have the defined network. But we have organizations that we can work with. We have Teknikföretagen, we have RISE that knows many companies, we have Sphere. We have other organizations like the EN, as I mentioned, also the Industrial Development Center, EUC, is in Sweden, where they can reach out. So we need to work with our networks to reach out and explain about what is INCITE, what are the possibilities. And now, after 1 year, we know a little bit more about what it is and how could be used. So now I think it's the time to use our networks to reach out to those who really meet those small companies and networks. I think that is something we're good at in Sweden. So I think that is the most important way we can work as agencies.
I agree.
Exactly as you said.
Just to say something, maybe you remember Eric's slide, there were 3 different legs. So one leg was the connection with the permits, the IED, which Isabella talked about. The other one was influencing the upcoming research programs, really EU-wide, not national, of course. And the third one, that is maybe even more important, but we don't discuss it today. It's not because it's not important, but it's just another type of seminar. It's about sustainable finance, about the investors, and talking about scaling up. This will also be on the webpage saying this is information for bankers, for whatever it is, and that is also a possibility to discuss. But we don't talk so much about it because we need to have other people in the room, and we had to concentrate on the first 2 legs. But there is an even more why INCITE, because there is an added value about the financial resources, not only for research, but also for investments. Just wanted to say that. Okay, Johan, did you raise your hand or on this? No, okay. Not on the financial. So again, I'm coming back to this. How do we find the relevant stakeholders? And in a couple of years, maybe we will have research program, maybe, I'm wishing, maybe not, in Europe and in Sweden or elsewhere in the member states, saying if you have a research program that is sort of important or irrelevant for INCITE, you should register there. You can have you have to register or you should try to, or something like that. But today we don't have that. I mean, this was just coming in 1 year ago, so there is no requirements in the calls saying that if you have something that is relevant for INCITE, have a look and please do something. Is this something we can, I mean, again, it's not about promising anything, it's just sort of, could that be one tool to use for upcoming? INCITE is not, I mean, we don't have RTD here, so I cannot ask them, but I ask you, do you think that is something to add there? And also I think, Johan, you have some research money for other things, but it could also be maybe connected. So a new round on this one. So maybe I start again with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you don't want to start. Well,
no promises. No, I think, I mean, it's hard to have ask for this in like a text for a call text, for example. Then we will have a number of people who wanted to add something. But I think, I mean, visibility is for me the key here, and this today is one way of making INCITE visible, and I think that's really also maybe a way of collecting these organizations, the companies and so on, by making it visible in the right sectors, and as you said, make it valuable for these contributors. Anything about this in Vinnova, maybe?
Yes, actually I will frame it more related to the potential to impact the upcoming MFF, the multi-financial annual financial EU budget, and the relation between the research and innovation framework program and the other funds that will be related to it, because this is going to be a way to design the coupling between the competitiveness fund and the research and innovation framework. And that will be very important to actually combine it, because we will find the potential for addressing what kind of research, thematic research we need to address, but also the funding gap of we have actually in Europe when it comes to implementing new technology or creating new companies. And so I would say that it's rather to work with the EU, the landscape of and the designing of the next, the upcoming EU budget.
Yeah, MFF. That sounds like the football team in Malmö. Yeah. So we remember that. Another acronym. Johan, you also?
Well, I mean, only you say, should we ask them to register? I think what is really important with initiatives like this, and I think in general, if we are thinking about the change also happening in the EU in terms of the simplification agenda and so on, be careful about asking more and more and more and register and do this and do that. It has to be driven by incentives. What's the benefit? Don't just ask tick boxes. And I mean, we discussed this also internally. We are looking at now the EU Social Climate Fund, where we are responsible for building a system where you can apply for support for electrical vehicles. And actually, one of the things we really discussed internally is how do we make this simple, so we don't start to ask a lot of things just for the sake of it. And it might be really good for us to get that information for INCITE, but it has to still build on the fact that those that are on the other side see the benefit of it, and not just us top-down asking for it.
I'm not asking for more admin, I promise.
Yeah,
I promise. I'm working for
I'm a
industry.
bit surprised at the government agency. I'm talking to the industry person.
It's very crazy now. Yeah. No, I lost all track of my notes here. It's very difficult to read. No, okay, Jan.
Yeah, we know that money talks, but one other thing that talks is good examples. And if we can find from out of INCITE companies that say, well, due to INCITE, we found a provider of technology and so on that made it easier for us to fulfill the regulations. And another one that say, via INCITE, we got our new customers. We got a possibility to grow and to provide our technology to many more customers. Good examples talks very, very, very good. And that is more important than tick boxes. I don't like tick boxes either.
Okay, I put it down. No tick boxes. We have good example of companies in the audience that has actually registered. So we will need to spread those examples. Yeah. I just think it's time for the audience to wake up and have questions. Microcarrier, is there any questions now? And also, I think Eric or colleagues in INCITE maybe reflect a little bit on what you hear from the Swedish authorities. But first, any questions? I asked you to ask questions, please. Don't be shy. Yeah. Pia, introduce yourself.
Yes, Pia Persson from Foyen Law Firm. I actually have a question from Johan, but I think you might need Isabella's help to answer that.
I love it that you say that from the beginning, so I don't have to. Yeah. Isabella, please be prepared. Listen.
Okay, so here we go. We all understand that there is a lot of work to do when it comes to the updated EID directive. Regarding the implementation on the national level. But here in Sweden we have a government that has suggested quite a lot of changes to the environmental permitting process. We have a new permitting authority that should take over some of the the tasks of the country administrative boards that are actually very well connected to the IID directive. So what do you think about that? Will that be efficient, or is that a challenge for you to keep pace with these new changes in the organization?
That's a really good question. Isabel, what are you saying? No, but you're right. I mean, and I can also say that it's maybe, I mean, some of you may be aware of this, but if we are looking at the time span for that, it is actually in the budget from 2027 to have such a new agency in place. If it will happen or not, we have to wait and see. But I know that there has been a lot of discussions also internally, of course. I don't know, Isabel, can you maybe update a little bit? It doesn't affect us so much,
no,
I understand.
Exactly, it's more our government that is working with the implementation, and I think actually ID has to be implemented before all these other changes will be in place. So yes, first we will have to probably implement ID within the old system, and then it will be adjusted to new system and all the changes connected to the new permitting authorities.
And I know one of the things we have pointed out in our response, and of course I will be very careful because I would need my legal people here. But I know that one thing they have, one thing they have. I know, so that's why I'm careful. So one thing that I know they have lifted as one, this regional presence, knowing knowing the area, sort of, with the county board, as you're stressing, if you have a national authority, how do you keep that still? And the second thing is the shift from permitting processes to tillsyn. Supervision. And that is quite a big shift in the system in a way. So permitting processes may be faster, potentially, or easier, whatever. But then you put more responsibility on really that supervision, and that shifts the systems, and will also, ask a lot when it comes to building new capacities for that kind of system. So I just want to add that, at least. That I know is one of the comments we've had about this.
I think that a lot of us is worried about the competence and the staff of the CABs and those who know about the directive and what will happen if you form a new organization from scratch. It's not that easy to build a big authority like that.
No, that's true. And I know that I've heard that a lot of people are afraid of that. There will be a gap. In particular, when we have so much happening on the green transition, and there might be a gap there.
Okay, I think we should not talk about permits and permitting processes in Sweden.
Why not? It's great.
But it's not. It's another seminar, and we can have that one. It's okay before Christmas, or should we have it? I just want to let you know that we have a little bit of reflection from INCITE on what they have heard. So I mean, okay, it's a little bit. You are now very big on the screen here. Maybe you see yourself. Just to hear if any comments to colleagues here in the panel from your side, or any questions, or everything was crystal clear, because this is really, a help for you to also explain to other member states how Sweden is working with these questions. So I don't know who wants to start.
I will start, and I think my colleagues also they want to come in. But first of all, I want to say that this panel discussion, I think, is very important, and I think it started with the presentation of Isabella a bit before. What is important to realize in INCITE in this project is that we have been always working with the competent authorities, the member states, which are involved in the Industrial Emission Directive, the permitting, and so on. And this is not, in a way, this is not the stakeholders which are necessarily immediately relevant for INCITE. And therefore, it is very important what was said in this panel is that we need to build network towards other government authorities which are involved in innovation, like, for example, Vinnova, which are involved in economic and development growth, like Björn was mentioning. And because those are the other competent authorities in Sweden, but in other countries as well, who really can help INCITE, in fact, you see. I think that is a key point. There is a need really to get out of the, let's say, the IED bubble, to reach out to people who are involved in innovation, in funding research projects, and in helping SMEs to develop. I mean, this is very important. And I like also the point which was made, I think, by Björn, about the engaging with the Enterprise Europe network, the EEN. We actually did that. We have a good link with ISMEA. So ISMEA is actually administering the EEN network. I had meetings with Gunnar, who is in charge of that, and so they know about it. We try to inform them, but okay, we need. I take it as a good point because we have not engaged with them for a while, and we need to keep that going because indeed they have access to a lot of SMEs. Who are sometimes looking for information and things like that. So I think it's an important point. So I take that, and thank you for setting up this panel because it really shows the actors that needs to be involved in INCITE. So yeah.
Thank you, Eric. Jose, Vanessa, you want to add something, or? I'm keeping track of the time, but go ahead. I want to.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you well. And good afternoon.
Okay, perfect. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for organizing this event. I am Vanessa Ferreira. I work at INCITE, and currently I am coordinating the pulp and paper and glass sectors. So, well, We would like to highlight also the importance of the Impact INCITE project. I think it's a very nice example that can also be followed by other member states. And if we continue, we would also like to expand not only to the iron and steel sectors, but also to the other sectors, for example, pulp and paper, glass, chemicals. And we also wanted to say that we are at your disposal to make presentations to other networks you think that need to learn about INCITE and to support you in including the projects at our database. So basically that's it. Also, we are planning a visit to a pulp and paper mill in March next year, but we could also discuss further to include the member state authorities in these and also perhaps expand to other visits in that travel. And that's all. Very nice to be here, and thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere, because you will come back in the final round. But we will have to wrap up this panel. So, Jose, you want to say something now, or you want to save it for later?
Yes, please, if I may, I will say that really the panel was fantastic, and putting together all these authorities that all have something to say and a connection with INCITE is phenomenal, because in this type of panel, this type of events are initiators for other things. No, it happened last week, for example, to me. I was presenting at CEFIC in the chemical sector, and a national association of a country, a member state, was there. So immediately they thought of organizing something similar. So when you put together this type of relevant panels, there is always good ideas and good things that could be role models and examples for others. No? Talking also about good example, I like a lot what I think Björn mentioned about highlighting good examples. We are always trying to find carrots to connect with INCITE, but it's not always easy. You mentioned that before, I think was Johan in a question. So showing, highlighting good example on how INCITE has benefited particular companies or particular technology providers, I think that it could be really, really positive. So I take a good note of that. No? And just last comment regarding the environmental authorities, in particular to Johan and to all the things that we are doing. I think that is really amazing, all the things that are being done in Sweden. The last time I was with you was in the webinar, and I took the opportunity to say that you were front runners in Europe, among a few others, because all the things that you are doing about engaging with us. I have a lot of meetings with several members of the EPA, with Isabella, Hannah, Helen, many people really building a strong connection and always finding new routes to articulate, engage in Sweden. No? So we really appreciate the support of authorities, not only industry as well, to really promote and launch INCITE and spread the news. No? So that's all.
Thank you so much. I was planning to have another question, but there is no more time. It's 45 minutes have gone already. So you have possibility to come back in the mic, all of you, when we have the round with Mike. So save that last comment for that. And I will big applaud to you and to you. And I have water bottles over here if someone wants it, but you can take it later maybe. So next, let's just move on in with next panel. Thank you so much for this authority panel. Now we will move on. The final panel that we have, there is just two, so this is the second one. And then we will have why, a little bit about this why, what is in for us with this INCITE. So it's INCITE significance for institutes and technology providers. And we don't have, there you have the slide. So I invite Pontus from Sverim to come up on the stage, Kristina Jönsson from RISE to come up, and then we have three technology providers. We have Rutger, we have Nikolai, and we have Linda. And we got mics for all. That's perfect. You have everyone? Yes? Okay. Don't be shy.
Okay.
You are the panel now. So now we changed. We will move on from authorities to this. And again, this is we have an international audience listening, and they don't know all of this. So we need to explain a little bit what is it we are. And I will start with the two institutes. So we have heard already, of course, a little bit about Sverim already, but maybe to frame it a little bit and why is Sverim very active in this? So please, Pontus.
Yeah, to give a background, this transformation, or Sverim was founded in 2018. And the background, it was actually on an initiative from mainly the steel and mining industry, because they saw this transition coming. And of course, our role is to help the industry in these transformations to complement their own research. And we have several tasks there. Of course, then being a researcher within that area, we usually work on the TRL scale from 4 to 7, so quite high up on the TRL scale. And we are also very important for this networking. It was a discussion about these SMEs, but we can say that these, let's say, larger companies in the base industry or the transport industry, if we can create platforms, which we have within the institute, we can bring in SMEs to work together with these larger companies and test their technologies. And I think here we have a very good ecosystem in Sweden, where we have a good cooperation between universities, institutes, and then industry, of course. And then this public financing, which is also crucial for, this, especially these initial steps in the innovation process, very, very important. But I think this is quite unique for the Swedish system, so to say.
Okay, thank you very much, Pontus. So now we know a little bit more about Sverim. And then we go to you, Christina. I guess maybe people know what RISE is, but give a little bit of introduction to what is it? Because Sverim is about metals. And what do you do daily?
Yeah, so it's a little bit broader perspective from RISE side when it comes to sectors. So we work very wide with textiles. We work with cement and concrete, for instance, so I sort of think that we should engage a bit more there, but we also work with other sectors and also cross-sectorial, because I think that is, when it comes to innovations, we also should appreciate that sometimes innovations can be sort of crossing borders into one sector, from one sector to another sector. But when it comes to RISE, we are around 3,000 employees, and we...
How many?
3,000.
Wow. So we have big support for all the other breaths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I really see a big task there for us. But we also have 130 test and demonstration and pilot scale and lab infrastructure. So there is a lot of capacity there, and I know that you have also that. So I think when it comes to ecosystems, this is an important part where we play a role in the maturity. How to help industry to climb in the maturity when it comes to technical readiness levels, but also other, you discussed here today, policy and other things that needs to be in place when it comes to maturity. And I think that how to evaluate all different aspects, including technical aspects, is important. Yeah, we have a very broad arena when it comes to sectors and also interdisciplinary work. So we look also in different questions in a holistic perspective. I think this is also important when it comes to innovations. Many things have been said here today, so I have taken notes and have millions of questions. But I think one of the major questions and reflections that I have today, if I may, is how Sweden could have this long-term commitment and how we should really act now. Because I think that I wanted to say to the other panel, you said no promises, but I think that we should promise some actions.
I'm the moderator, so I'm a little bit humble here.
So, but I look a bit more for action promises, and I have a few. It has been mentioning, which is also part of our role. The last thing I would mention is our large industry networks connected to all of the sectors that we are engaging in. And I think that we should activate ourselves as RISE, but also as a nation.
definitely.
Indeed, and we need, we cannot work for free, none of us, so we need to find a way to finance this, and we will come back to that a bit later.
Yeah.
So thank you, Christina, I'm really happy you're here, and also to let the people know that when we launched the INCITE event in Seville in midsummer, it was me and Nikolai there, and also Adam Andersson, which working for RISE, and he was sort of invited there to have a look what is INCITE. At that time, it was only a launch, nothing more, and then now we have more. He gave this opportunity to be here with us. He could not be here today, and I think it's much perfect that you are coming here. So thank you. And now we leave a little bit the institutes and go to the technology providers. And we have examples. I already mentioned them. We have more in the audience, but we have. I will start with you, Linda. A little bit. What is Green Iron, and what is your experience of INCITE work so far?
Yes, so we are a scale-up company and a technology provider. I attended this seminar a year ago and were a little bit confused. What is the purpose? What are the benefits? Is this something for us? But continue to follow. And then participated in the workshop in Seville this spring. So now it's getting much clearer. What are the benefits? What are the purpose? And what's in it for us? And being at the workshop in Seville, we got the opportunity to present our technology to a broad audience, as well as for me and for us to learn also what is state of the art today. There's a lot of good benefits just in that network. So yes, that's where we are today. We are also working with Eric and the team in a very good way. So I can only acknowledge that they are really supportive. Being a scale-up, we are constantly growing, but a few people doing a lot of things, and just an extra administrative thing could be just too much. But we get a lot of support in that. As well as also just simplifying that process, the submission process to the platform is really great. I think that has helped a lot. It's not creating this hurdle for us to go into that process.
And very soon we will have it on the platform. We will just figure out the technical issues there, but it's not about the content anymore.
It's just a final
practical one. So we will not go into that. We skip that. So thank you very much. Also explaining how much you have been following this 1 year. It's clearer now. Nikolai, maybe I already said you were in Seville and midsummer, but go ahead.
Yes, exactly. Thanks. But maybe taking one step back. So Kanthal is a material technology company based in Sweden, but a global footprint. And we're not a startup or scale-up. We've been around for decades, around 90 years actually. And we're specialized in electric resistance material that's used in industrial heating. So with the idea of industrial decarbonization, a lot of the European industry emissions come from high temperature heating. And obviously replacing combustion, electrifying that has a huge potential. But we were facing, it was mentioned earlier, Lars, I think you also talked about these narratives. Doesn't work, not the high temperatures, not at industrial scale. And then maybe a little bit as an anecdote, when Eva and I started looking at the FMP BREF, that is the one that is valid for us. And luckily in my daily work with this global responsibility, I'm not so involved into the local permits and compliance issues, but we looked at it and realized, but wait a minute, just the installations that we do have an electric walking beam furnace, we do have an electric pit furnace, and the BREF that tells us what to do is not really capturing that. And then of course for me that was interesting in terms of, well, if it doesn't say that, maybe the rest of the industry isn't aware of that either. And how can we raise that? So then the idea grew that maybe that's something for me to engage in. And also because we don't have a public affairs unit, we're not that large, we don't have a Brussels team or anything like that. And I mean, I get excited when I see these complex systems, but my management team doesn't. And but I think it's quite telling that my most important partner in this is in the business development, sitting behind there. it's not a public affairs function. And what Björn was saying in the previous panel, the idea that, oh wait, this could be important, and our technology can be used not only in the iron and steel sector. It's a double role that we have, because we're through our mother group, Alema, we're part of the iron and steel sector, but we're at the same time a technology provider for many other sectors like glass or semiconductor. So the journey that started with that visit at our own factory led to me participating in the launch in Sevilla. Last year's seminar here, we had this fantastic site visit with Eric and colleague. And we've basically taken all these steps. Now, very happy to be able to show that our first technology, we have many more entries in the pipeline because it is quite diversely applicable. That is really the story that I think the previous panel was also asking for. We're kind of, there is the technology innovation side of it, but there is also kind of a policy innovation side of it, and INCITE is a bit of the interface. So for us, it was quite straightforward and a really pleasurable experience. And again, thanks also to Eric and team.
Thank you very much. No, I agree. It's you said this. Why aren't we in the FMP BREF? And I say, well, let's explore how to make it better. And then after that, we have been working together. So it's important. Rutger, please tell what is
Thank
Cobalde?
you for inviting me. Cobalde is an 8-person company with people ranging from Bachelor of Science to PhDs. For us, INCITE is about communication and networking. And Cobalde, we work with raw material assessment, process assessments, and providing technology in form of information systems. And our customers, they are global mining companies, Swedish steel companies, and branch organizations on the global, European, and Swedish level. So in order to be relevant, we have to be, in thinking, we have to be ahead of people working with today's business. We have to talk about tomorrow's business, think about that. And that wouldn't be possible for us, an 8-person company, if we were not part of this innovation ecosystem that you talked about. And we work with RISE, we work with Sverim, we had the pleasure to work with Green Iron, and today we found out that we have a possibility of working together in a project with Kanthal. And this is, and through this seminar we had today, and this is really what makes us tick.
Perfect. I mean, we want really Jernkontoret to be the meeting place, and obviously already we are starting to do it in the panels and in the coffee breaks and others. So thank you very much. And also, I mean, we got this example of small companies, because I knew we will have small companies in the panel now. So it's really important to see that you have also started to register on INCITE. Because I saw on the list from Eric, it was, I think it was mentioned that you are ongoing to put something there.
We are looking at that, and we actually, in order to fit into INCITE's way of thinking, we had to redefine our business, which we did.
New business opportunity. Okay, I put note on that as well. Perfect. Thank you very much. So, I mean, this is illustrating, I mean, why to be INCITE from another angle, and I think it's very important. And as you said, Christina, I will come back to that. Next point will be about action needed and next steps, and that is for me the key thing. How do we continue this work? And I mean, we can witness on. It was not that difficult. It was, I mean, you have to understand the IED lingo a little bit to understand that it's not only about how you reduce emissions on one parameter, you also maybe increase on others. So this is, I mean, but if you come beyond that, it's quite easy, and Eric helps. So what do we need now to continue? I mean, I go back to you, Pontus. You are the CEO for Sverim. We have heard Sverim speaking, but why is Sverim sort of engaging so much in this BREF? Not all BREFs. We got this request on doing a lot more, but we should stick to us. And I mean, what is next step for Sverium here?
No, but let's say our main purpose is to support the industry, and one way is in this new breath in the workout. We will attend these shadow working groups for the steel industry to help come up then and to check the new technology and verify the new technology. And that is important since Sweden is in forefront, I think, when it comes to this new steel technology, so to say. I think we should be very active there, and it's an opportunity for Sweden, actually, both for the steel companies, but also especially for the technology providers. So we can set the future demand, so to say, through that route. I think, and then continue to spread information.
And continue to upload research, because that will continue. You don't have to. I mean, iron and steel has been in focus now. Mainly a little bit more of the other sectors. Others will come. We heard pulp and paper will be. There is a cement workshop, maybe to register people that is interested in cement, lime, and magnesium. And the reason why it's clustered like that is because the breaths are clustered like that. I was thinking about, if you don't understand the breath structure, it's really strange that you're putting those sectors together. But it's how they have put different Annex 1 activities in ID together in one breath. So this is important. But I was thinking, Christina.
Yeah,
exactly. I was thinking about giving you the word.
Oh, thank you. I'm a mind reader. No, I was thinking about this, the idea that we discussed here with the policy sandbox, and I think to try out different things, to work in parallel with how will I become compliant? How do I know that the sustainability aspects are sort of, do I reach climate impact reduction, or do I consider toxicity, or whatever aspects that are needed to consider? I think it's very important, and I know that this is one of the roles that we can have as institute, to help having a playground for trying out different technology innovations, but also versions of technologies. And here, I mean, we do innovate a lot in lab scale, in research infrastructures, but being able to try out different upscaling mechanisms and look at those parameters are also an important part of actually accelerate innovation from being an idea all the way to market entrance. So I think those infrastructures and the capacity to provide that to an innovation ecosystem is important. And if I heard it correctly, it's quite unique for Sweden, actually, because now we are considering research funding through the research programs, the big Horizon programs or the coming frame programs, to also include in investment or funding for technology infrastructures. And here I know that we are unique in Sweden having this, and I think it's one, because you said it quite good. The institute was a what do you say, a spin-off from the research and development from big companies in the early beginnings. So if we create a good ecosystem, I think that's really one of the ways forward.
Ecosystem. I put note.
Yeah.
Nikolai, you wanted to reflect?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, picking up on that, I think we're familiar with this term of a technology testbed, but we're not so familiar with maybe a policy testbed. But I think what we see today here is that both sides need to co-evolve in a way. And the question, I think, is then how can we create this ecosystems or the platform that actually brings together both sides? And also, if we think EU policies, I mean, there is a sustainability pillar, but then there is a future competitiveness pillar. And yes, of course, I see there is a growing interconnectivity behind it, but I don't think there is a systematic approach. And maybe that is something, I'm looking at the agency, something where we can think about creating these kind of platforms for co-evolution of enabling regulation for the emerging technologies, because there is no blueprint, because both are in the development, and it's a constant co-evolution. What's the the lab we could create for that.
Yeah, last year it called Transformation Lab, this event, but I didn't use that word because I got so many questions about what does it mean. So I just do Transformation Lab here, but we need more than once a year, I think. So that's true. I just want to see if there is any. I mean, now maybe you are a company thinking, should I do something? Maybe a question for the audience, for the panel here, or. And I also know that we have one more example in the audience, sitting very close to Jill. So Gunilla, maybe you want to say something as well from your side. Whoops.
Yes, my name is Gunilla Ölander. I work for Hybrid Development. And I just wanted to add on what Linda said, because I was also thinking in the beginning, what is INCITE and what can it bring to us? And my experience is also, as you say, that the sectoral workshop in Seville was really, really good. It was a really good organization, and it was also a really good view on the technologies that are present and are being developed in Europe today. And I also had the experience with the INCITE team of putting on the data on this platform. And it was a brilliant support from the team, and some technical issues with the devices at home. But I sorted that out, and now we are presented on the platform. So it's I just can agree on Linda's and also on Nikolai's experience that this is really, I think it's a good possibility to be visual in this platform also. Okay.
Thank you. Also one thing, we talked about it before, the TRL levels. Because when you have this entrance, and you talked about it, Christina, as well, and Nikolai partly, when you enter in one TRL level in one place, and then 1 year later, maybe you move to another one. Then you can go in and update, and then you have another part that is saying it has changed from 6 to 7, or whatever. Or so this is also really good to be able to. I mean, if you create the entrance, then you can also upload what you have. Of course, INCITE will have a check and look if it's correct. I mean, you cannot bullshit them because they will say, no, you cannot put this because it's not true. Because they really check everything. So it's not like, I mean, it has to be verified, of course, data. But we discussed this and which are the appropriate TRL level, because I really wanted to talk about that, but it's not really for the seminar. But any reflection from your side?
A reflection on that is, as you said, that I was thinking a little bit on that, because we have been developing a process concept in semi-industrial scale. So we think that we are on a quite high TRL level. But at the same time, I think maybe there is a risk to be too high in this visible site. Maybe that could affect then the possibilities to get, support for demonstration or more increased industrialization. So it's both sides, I would say, and going for bigger scale. I mean, it's also the lowest TRL level that you put together in your system will define your TRL level. So that was also a reflection on that.
It was also to INCITE to reflect on. I mean, to think about. I saw Nikolai and then Rutger and also Linda maybe, and then we have to wrap up. I don't know. Half an hour was just. So yeah, Nikolai.
No, but just very quickly, also, I fully agree with that, and I just want to say full credit also to Eric and the INCITE team, because even their end of the platform, I think, was under continuous evolution. I think in the beginning for us it was very focused on research projects. And yes, of course, we do have R&D projects, and some of them are EU funded, but some of the products are commercially available already, but still underrepresented. And I think this was really a co-evolution, and then acknowledging the process maybe needs more support. And I think that really, really went well. That when you hear EU process, it might be daunting from the beginning, and I think here's a really good example that there's people acting together on both ends, and that works really well.
Perfect. Rutger?
So you mentioned earlier that we had this 1-year project looking at the regulations and what could be done there. And I'm happy to say we had one of the projects there. And this Monday we had the last seminar with Volvo and the steel industry, and we discussed how to keep alloys in the circle. And that's all about communication, and I will make some advertisement for
no.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Okay.
Because for us, it's communication. If we want to tell the entire supply chain, steel industry, steel supply chain, we have to actually tell the product producer what they have to think about, the recycler what they have to think about, and the steel companies what they have to think about. And we talk about BREFs and best available technology, but you need to have the technologies working together. I think you were touching on that. And having one excellent and the rest not very good doesn't help. And we made some lists here, and this is the executive summary. There are plenty of these in the reception, so pick up one if you want to know what we have done for the money we got from you.
Okay, perfect. So we will have trays. Is it in wood, right?
Oh, it's in birch, made in Öland.
Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you, Linda.
Difficult to beat that.
You should have brought all the small things from green iron and showcase
the reduced metal oxides from our plant in commissioning right now. But anyway, I was reflecting on not just TRL level, but also on a topic a year ago was confidential information from companies, and I think that is still, I think, a topic to be addressed, but it's getting also much clearer for me, at least, that you can actually choose what to provide on the platform. So I think that's also important.
Yeah, and you can reveal it to the INCITE Bureau, but it's not official. So it's, we didn't talk about CBI this time. Last time we spent a lot of time on that, but and they have the most secure web-based that you can have, even higher, very high
but
class.
It could be a hurdle for to enter.
Of course, it's good you mention it. Okay, I mean, sorry guys. Half an hour was like that. I thought when it was 19 that, how will this go? But bang, it was happening. So thank you so much. And maybe you want a water bottle. Maybe.
Yeah. It's of steel.
Yeah. Yes. It's of steel, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have many water bottles. Maybe someone else wants to have one.
Varsågod.
We have water as well, actually. Oh, sorry. One more. And then we can close that slide. We have now half an hour only left, so not very much, but we will do something. I mean, okay, Christina said we need action. Action needed. What do we do? And what is next steps? So I will try to summarize what we hear on the next steps already from people. I put notes and I will remind people after a couple of weeks that you said you will do this, but not now. So I will summarize that, and then we will let the mic walk. So Karin will start with, so be prepared when it's in the room. Erik, it will be you who starts. Before that, Erik in INCITE will start on his way. And if you want to do a reflection in Swedish, it's okay. You don't need to speak English. It's okay to say, kaffet var gott. That's enough. If that's what you take with you, then perfect, because the coffee is also important. So let's summarize. What did we hear today? What is next steps? What do we need to do to do this? I mean, first of all, clear to all participants in the room, maybe not the authorities, maybe they cannot register on the platform, but all other people, that is industry, also researchers or technology providers, have a look and start to engage with INCITE. So that goes for almost all. We also need a way to find out how to find the people that should be in the workshops. I mean, we did a lot of work to make it happen that we have 9 people or 8 people from Sweden in the program on iron and steel. If you look on the cement program, there is not a single person from Sweden. Maybe coincidence, maybe not. So how do we find a way? Because we can be online and listen, but we should be in there. I'm sure, Kristina, there is research that should be there on the list, and also Kanthal, you maybe should have been there because maybe you have as well. So this is how do we shape this in Sweden? How do we get the possibility together to say that tomorrow it will be a pulp and paper workshop, because Eric said pulp and paper will come. Okay, so pulp and paper guys in the room or on the line, how can we manage to get in? It doesn't need to be Swedish, but if the Swedish researchers projects are the best, then they should present here, because this is really what it's all about, those workshops. So we have the platform, we have the workshops, first of a kind visits. We talked about it. I will try to send it out with the presentations. I have some written INCITE reports. This is the first INCITE first of a kind report. It's not yet on INCITE's webpage, but it is at our Swedish one. So if you want that, I have some of them. But we should have more visiting from INCITE. Pulp and paper, well, they will go. Finland, Sweden, and there is a lot of other sectors. How do we bring them here? How do we say to INCITE? We text them, we mail them, saying we have excellent first-of-a-kind installations in Sweden. You have to come here and see, for all the different sectors that we have. Okay, so that goes for all. First-of-a-kind, platform, and the workshops. And then all of us have to read. Okay, on the platform you can read already now, but Eric also said, in the end of next year, there will come a technical report. This technical report will be to inform the IED family, which is working with the BREFs, but it's also going to be, or it's actually DG environments that will get the information, and then it will be spread. And then we have the information for RTD, for the research and innovation, that is recommending what should be next level of research. So this is, and we should read this report when it comes. However, I must say, and that might be a question for you later on INCITE when you get the floor, how do we get this report, the technical report? Because I don't know. This first time they do it, and we don't know the routine, but that's why I'm asking the question already now. So read the technical report when it comes. And then, of course, what do we hear? We heard Pontus was talking about iron and steel BREF. So the iron and steel BREF, which is the BREF for iron and steel, obvious, starts already this year, front-loading, having information from the technical report, from the web page, from the workshop, and that report will be done early next year, maybe. So that will come. Also, Eric mentioned the workshop on cement, lime, and magnesium. So this is what they will do, and they said pulp and paper will be, and then maybe glass, non-ferrous metals, or refineries was on the list Eric was mentioning. So there you have to sort of be forward-leaning if you are from those sectors already now. Swedish EPA, what should they do? Well, I'm not sure I want to say. No, but okay, we heard already. Isabella was saying it. You mentioned it as well, Johan. There will come some sort of report to the government office about how to work with INCITE, I guess. So it's you, and it's the Vinnova, and it's Tillväxtverket, right? So doing this report, but it's you who is really delivering to the government office. And then maybe government office do something, we hope, with that, and we continue to work together. Maybe to have even more authorities and institutions involved on how to build Sweden INCITE. So that will happen. From institutes, I mean, how do we take something from Sferium to RISE? We can talk about it maybe during the mingle, but we need also to have the knowledge we have to bring it to you, so you can start working without struggling around like we did. So this is something also important to do. With that, I think I have covered what we need to do. Also, of course, I said in the beginning, all the presentations will come. All the film that we have recorded and sent on will be possible to see again if you want to see it one more time. And we will also cut some of the films in pieces, so you can also just watch the authority panel. So if you want to send to your colleagues in other countries, it's possible. We will come with those links tomorrow or on Monday maybe. So this is also what will happen. With that, I think I want to start to invite the INCITE team to reflect. What will happen now is I allowed, because I'm very polite to Commission, that they can use maybe one more than one sentence about the day, but because, yes, they're smiling. You said it yourself, Eric, I was too long before, so I just want to remind you about that when we started. So just sort of, what do I take with me? I mean, you already reflected a little bit already, but if there is something additional or something that's popping up, you don't need to talk much, and if you don't have anything to say, then it's okay as well. And that goes for all of you, of course. If you don't want to say, you just say thank you, or even not even thank you, just pass the mic to next speaker. But I want to hear you, what you're saying and what you bring with you. So Eric, and then Vanessa, and then Jose.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I start. Well, first of all, what I want to say is thank you very much for this fantastic event that you have put together on INCITE. Really, it raises the profile of this project very much, and it's very much appreciated. You really brought together all the actors that needs to be involved in this project, and I think this is one of the things that I will take today is that we have seen. And we have very strong messages actually from Swedish EPA indicating that INCITE is about building the networks and really collaborating to try to promote those innovative technology during the industrial transformation. I think this is very important, and we need to collaborate with the research and technology organization. We need to collaborate with the technology providers, with industry, with the plant operators, with the member states. All together, we need to focus on those innovative technology and really try to document better, to showcase better those technologies, the success story, and also maybe mention the one which didn't work, because that will also happen. So that is, I think, what I would take for today. I noted your question, Eva, about this report. This report which will come will be a science for policy report from the Joint Research Center, so it will be published this way, not like a brief. Okay, and yes, and I want also to thank particularly the people from the last panel, because I didn't have the opportunity, and I've been working closely with them to publish their technology. I still need to work with at least Rutger more and more to publish his technology as well, and that will come. And really, I think it has been a good process, and I thank them for that. And we are looking forward to actually collaborate on more techniques as well. So thank you for that, and thanks to you, Eva, for all the involvement and positivity that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that was a little bit more than 2 sentences, Eric, but okay. I'm flexible today. It's afternoon. Okay. Soon we will get some mingled wine, so we will relax later. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here all day. I mean, you couldn't come here, but you are here and you have been listening to all of it. And I think it's an honor for me that you are spending three colleagues. Even 2 more wanted to come, but they didn't manage in the end of the day. So that's perfect for us to have faces on the people that INCITE is not someone else. It's you. We are humans. So, okay, Jose or Vanessa, which one do you want to start?
Yes, thank you very much for everything. So for me, I think it was very nice to be here because we could also have the reflection of the people that participate in the workshop here in Iron and Steel. So then it's a way to highlight that INCITE is not only doing data mining and analyzing those data, we are connecting. We are connecting big, small companies with big companies. We are bringing also researchers to understand what is INCITE, what is the importance of INCITE, and perhaps being a researcher myself in the past, like we don't know about the BREF, but now these people can also participate in the BREF and collaborate and with the INCITE. So I think it's very important. And yeah, basically, I think we can see that INCITE is also bringing the state of the art together for a specific sector. We did that for the iron steel, and it was clear in the workshop all the projects together and how we are bringing together and analyzing and showing off the state of the art. But we are also doing that for the other sectors. It will come with the workshop, but we are working very hard to do that. And for the next steps, we keep at your disposal to support you, to include in the other sectors, and keep the collaboration with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you were pulp and paper and glass, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Jose, a few words from you, maybe a few sentences.
Yes, I will try to condense in just 2 sentences. I just want to express again our highest appreciation for organization of this event, because this type of gathering are creating the right conditions for people to engage with INCITE. So we are a kind of friendly mechanism. So there is no reason for not connecting, not gathering information in the way that we are presenting, because this is the way that INCITE we will grow and we will unleash all our potential. No? We have to do this journey together, and INCITE will be whatever all the stakeholders, not us, want this to be. No? So really we need to work on this together. No? I'm very glad as well to have seen positive feedback from the workshop, because these are starting to be examples, good examples, as mentioned before, on how INCITE could provide value. No? This is the first people that started to work with us. As Eric has mentioned, some of the companies in Sweden are with us since the beginning, and they are the ones that already see the benefits. No? The workshop was also dedicated to that sectors. No? So in that way, we can see that the actions that are more advanced in INCITE are already bringing benefits to companies and to other stakeholders. No? So just engage with us, connect with us, and that's all. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much for kind words. Now we will have a very quick start reflection. Just one sentence, not too many sentences, but one sentence ish about the day, or what do I take with me? So we start with you, Eric.
I'll keep short. It's been an interesting afternoon, and especially interesting to hear about how INCITE is used not mainly as an incentive to ease the environmental permitting process, but as a marketing tool for green tech.
Thank you. Stina?
Thank you. Very inspiring. I learned a lot. I will do my very best to contribute to a successful networks following this seminar.
Thank you. Lars?
Yeah, so fantastic to do policy implementation in practice for an academic.
Linda? Oh, you skip? Okay, you have said already. So then move. You want to say something? No, not on that side. It's just we have that and so behind. Yeah, thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I think it's important to highlight the good examples after this.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. This is you grasp it. One sentence. Excellent. Extra wine for you if you want. Sorry.
I take with me a very positive feeling about how many different stakeholders are willing to engage and have engaged in INCITE.
Thank you. Isabella?
Yeah, I think we did a lot during last year. This is what I will take with me. I think the list that Eric was presented with all the initiatives and the work they've done is really impressive, and I really would like to say a big thank you from our side for all the fantastic work you are doing as well.
Björn, you want to say something? No? Okay, next one. Hello?
Ja, om jag får adressera ett perspektiv från SME-sektorn. I think this initiative...
It's just two sentences, yes. Otherwise we cut the mic and it will go over there.
I'll make it short then. INCITE is an amazing program, and please continue into the next following steps of promotion and scalability of these technologies. Showcasing them is the important first step. Continue from there. Thank you very much.
And you contact INCITE today already. Thomas?
Thank you. Very interesting. I must say I'm very impressed about with the progress in a very short time to fill INCITE with content.
Compared to last year, yes, much more content. Yeah, thank you. And no. We have another mic on that side. It's important. Yeah. For the people that is sending, not because I'm sorry for that.
Thank you very much, Harald here from Gylesjö, and it's very positive to see that so many different organizations are so well aligned towards a common goal.
Thank you. Rutger, maybe not. Then we have, continue.
Yes, Per Enoksson, SSAB.
this was all very new for me, so I think it was a very informative day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna Adolfsson, SSAB. I will add on to that the importance of framing insight and what's in it for me.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Henrik Pompeius. I'm also from Pharmas, from one of the agencies working with Swedish metals and minerals. So I think it was very inspiring to hear all the commitment and engagement in this process in such a short time. So thank you.
Leod?
Annika Roos, Jernkontoret. So I think it was very good to see the progress that we have seen the last year since the Startup seminar. And what I mainly took away from here, it's we talked a lot about networks and how to utilize that, but also to talk about stories, success stories, best practices. What's in it for me that is extremely important to create engagement, and also to avoid administration, make it easy. So I think that will be challenges, but to be overcome.
Thank you. Next one.
Peter Åström, Swedish Society for Materials Technology. As interesting as last time, together with our 23 member organizations in Europe in materials, I think this could open a lot of doors for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Then Viveka.
Viveka Bergstrand from the Swedish government offices. I'm very impressed to hear what has happened all during this year. And also very interesting to hear from the Commission the links to the other different processes, the EIA and the MFF and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you. And on the other side?
Helena Axelsson, Jernkontoret. Impressive work done by INCITE. I was a bit wondering how the INCITE work could influence the BREF work when it comes to more innovation is about sort of spreading, having new technologies and perhaps different technologies, so that the BREF will mirror that and not to sort of narrow in the possibilities of using technologies.
Thank you. Helen?
Hi. Sorry. Helen Land. I work at the Swedish EPA, and I work with the government and assignment. And I think that many things that have been said today is in line with what we heard during our work this year. So I'm really happy to hear that we are heading in the right direction. So we take that with me.
And then there is no one behind Helene there, no? No. Okay, so we start here. If you want to say something more, Christina, or...
Is it on? Yeah. I just want to stress that I think that Sweden needs to act. So what should be our ambition here? You talked about long term, and I think the continuous work in engaging from our side and giving the prerequisites for all actors to do that is an important step. And otherwise we will just keep engaging our networks, EN and others that we coordinate. Thanks.
Thanks. Johan?
I give my sentence to my colleague.
No, you have one. Come on.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Johansson. I'm the head of the industry unit at the Swedish EPA, and we have the IED group in my unit working with the BREF coordinating and the INCITE assignment and many other things. And my reflection is that I think we've come very far. We started working with this a bit before the launch last summer. And while we have been active in the activities that has been done by the INCITE Bureau, we have also have this assignment thinking about the long term. How should Sweden's authorities organize to keep the pace in this work? And I think we have perhaps not all the answers yet, but we have at least some ideas, and I hope we can take this further. And I would also like to thank for the collaboration with the INCITE team, with you, Eva, and also with the other authorities, Tillväxtverket, Vinnova, Energimyndigheten, for their commitment to this work.
Thank you, Lisa. Remy? Sorry, I was So it's better to give it to you now. And then we have to go back a little bit so we don't miss behind
Yes.
Pontus. Yeah.
Well, I would say that we're really coming very long in this process, and it was very nice to hear the feedback from our colleagues in Sevilla. So just remember that. But of course, we have not reached the final goal. We still have a lot to do and a lot to improve. But remember that we've come that far and quite far, actually.
Thank you. And then we have to go up a little bit. Yes, perfect.
I just want to say thank you. And as newly employed at Sverium, I really enjoyed listening and learned a lot. And I have to add, I'm proud of my colleagues. Thank you.
Oh, yes, great. Okay.
Hi, I'm Eri Ammalahti from Valmet, and I came here to learn about how to prepare for the pulp and paper topic. So thanks a lot. It has been an excellent day. And Vanessa, I know now who to contact there at INCITE.
Exactly. You see her in front of you, huh? Yeah, go ahead.
Matthias Blomberg here, Formas. Inspirational day. And I take with me, or I'm thinking about how Formas can continue to contribute to the INCITE project.
Perfect. Then.
Gunilla Hylander from Hybrid. I'm just saying I'm very impressed of this work and the engagement in the questions. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Joel Jakobsson, the Department of Research Strategy and Operation at RISE. I didn't know so much about INCITE before today, but now I know a lot, and I think I agree with Christina that we need to discuss at RISE how we can contribute more to INCITE.
That's lovely music. Perfect. I put note here. RISE to do. Yeah, our project leader.
Yes, I am very happy to see so many participants here in the room and online, and I want to thank you all for spending your afternoon with us. Thank you.
So maybe 5 sentences, but I'd like to just take the opportunity to urge all industry and tech providers to really engage in INCITE. Normally when you mention like policy, legal, funding, etc. to engineers, they start running in the other direction and don't want to hear anything else. But this is such an excellent interface that actually provides the people behind the innovations to both share information with each other during INCITE, during the sectoral workshops, etc., but also to close the gap between them and the lawmakers, so that they actually provide information for the coming butts and breaths. So please engage.
Pia?
Hi. Thank you so much, Pia Persson from Foyen. I think the permitting process should facilitate the INCITE, and we should focus on a good implementation of the updated directive, so focus on the content, not on the organization.
Thank you. And then 2, 3, 4 more. Jill, you have to say something as well. And Karin, of course. Yes.
So my name is Jacob Elemba. Now I know INCITE is important. I did not know this. And while there were many important people here, I came here because of Jernkontoret. So thank you, Eva Blixt and Jernkontoret.
Oh, thank you. Jesper?
Yeah, Jesper, SSAB. Well, echo what Marcus said. Important that we all engage in this, I think, and a big thank you to everybody.
Thank you. Krista?
Christer Ryman, Jernkontoret. My reflection is I want to add to Marcus and Jesper, because it's important that you continue to work with this platform, because otherwise it will become irrelevant quite soon. It has to be updated.
Thank you. And then we have Jill, yourself, maybe a reflection.
Yeah, I bring with me the feeling of cooperation between all the different organizations in Sweden and with the INCITE team.
Thank you. And Karin?
I'm happy that you
Oh.
did this.
The other mic, can we
The
change?
other mic?
Yes.
Okay, but now I think it's
Yes.
okay.
I just want to say thank you from Swedish Metals and Minerals, and I think it was just great that you did apply for this research work, and you have made an excellent day today, Eva, and your team. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. With that, I could conclude for 2 hours. I will not. I will just say I'm so happy you have been here. You're still here. And please, let's continue to talk now and do plans. On the side there, we have some wine, we have some beer, we have some non-alcoholic, of course, we have water and a bit of snack. So, but the people that is online, unfortunately, you're not here, but you maybe can have after work maybe somewhere else with someone. So with that, I will close the meeting and say thank you to very, very many very thoughtful thoughts during this round. Thank you so much from my side as well.